mist-covered mountains are a home now for me. But my home is the lowlands, and always will be. Someday you'll return to your valleys and your farms, and you'll no longer burn to be brothers in arms. Through these fields of destruction, baptisms of fire, I've witnessed your suffering as the battle raged high.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. As a reminder, we know you have choices. We appreciate you spending some time with us. Happy Thursday. You know the drill. Tapping is clapping, sharing is caring. The quicker we can get out to the FYP, the quicker we can protect the live. And the topics we're going to talk about today are going to be intense for many, I'm sure. There's a gifting goal. Please consider gifting. Please consider subscribing. We are marching towards a 200 subscriber moment so that we can do a special subscribers only event. And that will be coming up hopefully soon. If you'd like to also contribute to the channel, you can do so by joining our Discord, which the link is in the link tree in my bio. You'll find that over there. Also, when you're over there, you'll notice that there's a link to an official watch party location. As a reminder, we have been designated a watch party for the debate, and you can sign up for that in the link tree that's in my bio. The link tree, it seems like it's working okay now. If you are having trouble, if you can't connect, you can either message myself, you can message Gregory or any of our mods. And they can take care of that for you. Also, pay apps are in the link tree or in my bio as well. So we have a lot to talk about. I think the news is spreading like wildfire. The incident at Arlington National Cemetery. So over the course of the morning, I think we're gonna have a few guests because I always like to have representation when we're talking about topics, and this topic hits home for many people. So the question today, though, is if you consider yourself a patriot. After what we know, even prior to what happened at Arlington, how could you still vote for this man? So in case you don't know, there was a campaign event. It turned into a campaign event. So there was a planned campaign event, members of families who lost their lives in Afghanistan. This is the photo here. So just take a look at that picture for a second. So the former president of the United States standing there with his thumb up, right, in front of the tomb or just behind the tomb of one of the fallens who lost their lives in Afghanistan, one of the 13 people who lost their lives in Afghanistan. There was an incident because, and again, vets, if you're out there, and if I misspeak on anything, please request and come up. I would really appreciate that. Section 60. So I want to talk specifically about what Section 60 is. First of all, as we all know, and we should all know, Section 60 is revered, and Arlington Cemetery is hallowed ground. I think we can all agree with that. Section 60 in particular because it's post 9/11, Afghanistan, Iraq veterans. So this is where this incident took place. The controversy is around an altercation between members of the Trump campaign and people who were working at Arlington Cemetery. The rules are very clear. There's no campaign events allowed there. It's not publicized. It's not something that is supposed to be what he and his campaign turned it into. Because also in the picture, you can't see it here, but there are other tombstones that are in the picture that the families of those did not give permission for them to be included, and they're part of the campaign ad. So this is turned into a serious issue because laws were broken. And I think the biggest thing that we have to think about here from the big picture perspective is that he continues to denigrate veterans. We know that he has called them suckers and losers. We know that. We know that he has mocked Gold Star families. We know that. We know he has disparaged John McCain, who was in fact a war hero. We know that. We know that he wouldn't attend various ceremonies because they didn't like the way it made him look. This is where we're at. This is who this man is. So it's the question, if you consider yourself a patriot and you do support veterans, then how, after everything we've learned, how can you possibly still vote for this man? So we'll be having these conversations throughout the morning, and I want to make sure that we're sensitive to the fact that this is extremely triggering for not only us but veterans in particular. So I want to be sensitive to that. But conversations throughout the morning. Everybody, please tap and share and care. Thank you very much. Second,
Okay,
70s,
so
70s.
you're
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Don't just jump in. All right. Good morning.
morning.
Okay. So first of all, who are you planning on voting for this fall?
Not putting a commie in the White House. Let's put it that way.
Okay, cool. So can you tell me your reaction to what has happened over the past 48 hours?
The campaign did go there with photography. I do understand that. Section 60. I don't think of it as any different than any other section in the entire location. However, he is one running for candidacy. There would also be people that would be there taking pictures anyway that would likely be supporters of his.
He wasn't allowed there, sir. The event wasn't allowed. They broke the law.
Okay, I've been to Arlington and I did take photos and video there.
Right,
so,
but are you running for office?
No.
Okay, so he broke the law. It was entirely a political stunt. And what about the families of the people who were buried next to this particular person? They didn't give permission to have those tombstones photographed.
I think that's a little extraneous of kind of a
What
reach.
does extraneous mean?
I think you're kind of reaching. Let's put it that way.
I'm reaching?
Yes.
You still vote for this man and I'm the one that's reaching?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. And
really?
And his suckers and losers statement that you guys are putting out there has been debunked 9 ways to heaven.
Really?
Yes.
So you don't believe the 4-star general that said it?
No, not at all.
Oh, right. But you believe Donald Trump, right?
Okay. I have a friend of mine who's actually
so your friend.
general.
So you believe Donald Trump. You don't believe the 4-star general. You don't believe the 4-star general, but you believe Donald Trump.
Let's put it this way. You're not letting me speak, for one thing. That's just awful rude.
I don't think traitors have much to say, quite frankly.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're obviously answering this one here yourself, that you're the traitor here because you're not allowing.
I'm not the one supporting Trump.
Oh, you're supporting a commie. So what's more traitors than that?
Right. Yeah. You'd like to think that, though, wouldn't you, friend? You would like to think that. So again, back to you. You're the one. You're the one that's supporting.
Excuse me.
You're the one that's supporting the traitor.
He is a Marxist.
You're the one that denigrates, that supports the denigration of veterans. You're the one that doesn't care. You're the one that every chance you get, every single chance you'll get, you'll defend this man.
I am a member of
every chance.
I go to the rally every year.
Of course you do. Right, and you'll still vote for this guy. So you don't care about veterans, sir.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah.
You don't.
For sure. You
don't.
Opposite. Here we go. Go for it.
You don't.
Go ahead.
But you don't, though.
I absolutely do. I do.
Well, how can you do that? How can you do that? Was John McCain a war hero?
Was John McCain? No, John McCain was a traitor, actually.
Oh my God! Really?
Yes.
Okay.
John.
Okay. Wow. All right. I'm gonna bring up Alan as well. Moon Goon. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm good.
So, who are you planning on voting for this fall?
Trump's got my vote so far.
So your reaction to what's happened with the Arlington cemetery political stunt?
I think it's just another add-on to the, I guess the chase Democrats have at going after his character.
Wait a minute. So hold on a second. I just want to make sure I understand that clearly. So it's the Democrats' fault that Trump went to an area and violated the law and then used fallen soldiers as tokens in a campaign ad? That's Democrats' fault?
I mean, it was a photograph. It was
Did he or
basically
did he
a
not? Did
photography
he or did he
session.
not break the law? Did he or did he not break the law?
Sure, you could argue he could, you could argue he didn't. Either way.
Well, so if you smash a window, is that breaking into a private property? Is that breaking the law or is it not?
Depends. For there to be a crime.
Depends?
How can breaking the law be subjective? Either you did it or you didn't. It's not rocket science.
Well, that's not how the law works. In order for a crime to have been committed, there needs to be three things.
Wait, pause.
There needs to be intent. There needs to be action, and
Moon,
both
shut up
both
for a
have to happen
second.
at the
Moon,
same
shut up for
time.
a second.
No, that's not
How-
true, sir.
Yes,
How
it is.
can you, how does that work? How does that work?
What do you mean? How does that work?
Well, Moongoon, let's back up a second. Good morning, Olive. Good to see you.
Good morning.
I guess the question is, Moongoon, it seems like at every chance you guys get, there's always an excuse for his behavior. So is there not a line for you?
Listen, there is very much a line. There is very much a line. I don't think some of the things he said are the smartest or are the brightest things anybody's ever said.
So you think
And I'm
mocking veterans and calling war heroes suckers and losers and mocking Gold Star families and campaign events?
The guy previously did state they were debunked, and they have been debunked.
No, they haven't been debunked, sir. So you don't believe a 4-star general either?
So that 4-star general also had admirals in that room and other people who said that he never said it.
You can provide me that source, right?
Huh?
You can provide me that source, right?
It was from Donald Trump's mouth.
Right,
on
exactly.
his last interview he did.
Thank you for proving my point. Exactly. So you believe everything that Trump says, but you won't believe the history of disparaging things he said about veterans.
Not even to mention the 4-star general is also a gold star family receiver as well.
Correct.
Yeah, and
So, God forbid, you're gonna trust a draft dodger
Right.
over a gold star family.
Yeah, Moongoon. I mean, just think about what you said, man. Like your debunking of something that a 4-star general has said on the record is Donald Trump saying he didn't say it. How is that debunking it?
because that 4-star general lied.
Oh, how do you know that 4-star general lied, Moongoon? How do you know that?
Because there are more witnesses stating the opposite of what the 4-star general said.
Again, can you provide? I asked you for a source earlier, and you said it was Donald Trump that said that. So where is your source for that?
I've
not read anything. I've not read anything that would contradict what the 4-star general said.
What?
I've not read anything I've not read anything that says that didn't happen. I've only read, the only time I've ever heard it was Donald Trump saying he didn't say it, which is my point. So you'll denigrate a 4-star, general whose son lost their life. And by the way, when Trump was standing with said 4-star general at the cemetery where his son was buried, he said, what was in it for them? So, but you're calling that 4-star general a liar? Does that make sense? Is that honestly, to have an intellectual conversation, Moongoon, does that honestly make sense?
I mean, it's not like this is the first time you've done it either.
I don't.
Okay.
I do believe that 90% of the things that people say are bad about Trump are taken out of context, or the things Trump say are taken out of context.
Let's go back to what I just asked you.
I
Does
don't
it make
think
sense?
he had ill intent behind what he said.
So let's go back to what I said. I would like you to listen and not necessarily to react. I want you to listen.
Listening.
4-star general, recognized. 4-star general makes the claim. States on the record. You got to mute because you've got some background noise. States on the record, okay, on the record, that this is what was said. Losers, suckers, the whole 9 yards. Goes to the cemetery, I think it's in France, where his son is buried. And is that right, Olive? I think that's right, in France.
Well, the conversation happened while he was in France. It was
Right,
when he during
right,
the D-Day time, correct?
right.
Yes.
So they were at the cemetery where his son was buried, who lost his life in service to his country, and Trump turned to Kelly and said, "What was in it for them? Suckers, losers." Again, I ask you, the only source you had when I asked you to debunk it was Donald Trump said he didn't say it. So what would make more sense? Who's more likely to lie? The pathological liar or the 4-star general? You can unmute.
Well, that's again. You're assuming either way.
I'm asking you.
You're saying
I'm asking you.
You're making it's a he said she said, and
No,
we're
it's
gonna
not.
we're gonna base our political ideologies off of he
No,
said
that's
she
not
said.
the case, Moon.
That's not
The
the
other
question.
thing, the other thing too, Moon, though, is you can
Man.
do it based on his character as well. No different than the comment he made about the honorary Medal of Honor in
Yeah, what
comparing it
about
to the
that,
civilian
Moon?
level.
Good thought, Olive. So trying to compare the Medal of Freedom that Rush Limbaugh got to the Congressional Medal of Honor, not only comparing, but saying the Presidential Medal of Freedom is more important, more significant than the Congressional Medal of Honor. What more proof do you need that he doesn't give a shit about people who've served? Would you like to speak to a veteran, Moongoon?
I am one.
Cool. Greg is one as well. Greg?
Yeah,
Good morning.
yeah. Good morning. Morning, sir. Morning, Moongoon, Olive.
Morning, Greg.
Actually, it was two different incidents that he said it to the general. It was in France during the ceremony, and it started drizzling, and they were supposed to go to Bella Wood. And I'm not a Marine, but any Marine could tell you the importance of Bella Wood. It's just very important to the Marine Corps. And that's when he made the sucker and loser comment. But it was at Arlington when they were at the general's son's grave that
right.
he actually said what was in it for them. And, here's the thing. You can go by what the general's past statements have been and look at what Donald Trump's past statements have been, and I would kind of have to agree with the general, because if you listen to what he said about John McCain and other veterans, if you're not on his side, he has no use for you. And why would we doubt what the general has said when it's absolutely 100% coincides with everything that's come out of his mouth? And at what point do people you guys just get tired of telling us what he meant to say or what he meant to do? His staff was given rules about what they could do at Section 60. They were all supposed to stay in the press van and not come out. They did not. It's as plain as the nose on your face if you just look at it, and how any veteran could support him after everything he's done is beyond me. I think you need to step back, relook at your oath, and check yourself, High Speed.
So, one.
You think it's funny?
No, yeah, I do. I think it's funny. I think it's funny that time and time again, Donald Trump has said some things, and it's been taken out of context. And there are many times.
Let him take care of himself. Let him dig his own.
So, and this is proven. This is proven. Let's say what he said. Let's say what you guys are saying is true. Okay.
It is.
Okay. Let's say it is true. It doesn't change the fact that it's hard to believe that it's true because of all the false statements about Donald Trump. The Russia collusion hoax. That was true. All fake. All fake.
No, it wasn't. How many people went to prison over the Russian collusion?
Yeah, how many people went to prison?
Paul Manafort, where did he come from? What was his job before he took over the Trump campaign? Do you have any idea?
Do you even know who that is?
What are you talking about?
You don't even know who that is, do you?
You brought it up. You brought it up.
You guys realize when you guys talk about like this extreme
I'm not going to let you pivot. Okay, I'm not going to let you pivot. You're backed into a corner, and this is what traitors do when they're backed into a corner. Okay, so again, the question is specific. You support a man who continually denigrates veterans. And every single time something new happens, you will always build in an excuse. You will always say it's the left, it's fake news, instead of, typically speaking, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And I think, to Greg's point, I think you should check yourself. Did you or did you not take an oath to the Constitution?
I sure did.
Okay, to the Constitution, right?
Yep.
So this guy wants to tear it up. This guy wants to erase the democratic norms that you swore to protect, that Gregory swore to protect, that Olive's dad swore to protect. But you seem to think it's no big deal because it's everybody's out to get Trump.
Because when you spew this kind of rhetoric and this vocabulary you have of calling me a traitor and labeling me a traitor, listen,
you took the oath, friend.
All that does is cause further division.
Don't care.
No, but that's not the case.
I don't care.
Just looking at the situation based on that, I have one party causing division and the other party just trying to fucking make the world a better place.
No, that's the thing, though.
Friend,
Whoa.
No, friend.
Okay.
No, friend. You're the one that supports the traitor. That's not us.
You're supporting a traitor.
You're that's what you're doing.
Supporting a traitor.
The other thing too is it's not just the fact that what he did was a political stunt. This isn't the first time he's done this either. Not even to mention the degrading he's done to military families. As someone, my dad did 20 plus years in the Navy. My ex-husband was active duty as well. I've lived this life. I've never served, but I've lived this life in a sense of the family members. The comments he's made. Have you ever heard about the comment he made about to a spouse after she lost her husband? He said, "Well, you knew what you signed up for." This man doesn't care. If anything, and if you read into the article about what happened in Arlington on Monday, he was just using it for a political gain. That's all he's ever done. And that's the sick, twisted thing, Moon. You have to understand the only time people genuinely care about veterans is when it's a benefit to themselves, when it's a talking point to themselves, where it makes them look better. That's the thing I will never understand, ever. There's multiple veterans that need this support, and no one wants to listen to them besides the people, and we want things to change. Trump doesn't care, dude, at all. If he genuinely did, it would be better. Sorry.
Oh, no. And to prove that he doesn't care is he even knew after the interaction with the groundskeepers and everybody at Arlington and knew it was an issue. He still doubled down and used that footage in an advertisement. He's all about Trump. And Moongoon, you're obviously a Trump whisperer. Can you tell me what Donald Trump meant on Truth Social when he called for the termination of the Constitution? Because we read the words, but we don't understand it. So what did that actually mean?
I have no idea what you're referring to.
So
that's not surprising.
Right. In a Truth Social truth, whatever the fuck you want to call it, he talked about the termination of the Constitution. And so that's why I asked you that question. Thank you, Greg. Perfect segue. That's why I asked you the question. Did you take an oath to the Constitution or did you take an oath to Donald Trump? So to me, it seems like you took an oath to Trump. Because if you truly took an oath to the Constitution, you'd be like, I'm done. I can't support somebody who wants to terminate the Constitution because I took an oath to it.
If I took an oath to the Constitution, one, I took an oath to the Constitution.
Right,
and
you did.
And when I've got a party that wants more federal regulation,
nice
and
deflection,
I have another
Fred.
party who
nice
has another less.
That's a
federal
nice deflection.
I
That's
like
a very
that
interesting. That's quite a deflection. So you're just
true.
comfortable supporting a traitor.
It's not true.
It's not true.
He's not a traitor.
He is a traitor.
Oh, I can make plenty of arguments that would show that he is. Country over con man, dude.
And believe me, I'll be the first one to pick up a rifle if he is a traitor. I promise.
Then why haven't you?
That.
I doubt that. I think you'd stand behind him because birds of a feather flock together. Sadly,
you're told to defend the Constitution from anyone foreign and domestic, anyone traitor, former or domestic, right?
Yes.
A perfect example is what he did on Jason. That's the perfect example.
Are the January 6th people, are they patriots, Goon?
That's a whole nother argument.
No, it's not.
It's a simple question. Are they patriots or were they attempting an insurrection? Granted, it didn't happen. A failure is still an insurrection. Are they
So
patriots or were they traitors?
rational thought tells me they were not trying to overthrow the United
God.
States government.
Okay, so what was their goal? What was the goal?
What was their goal?
What
What
was
was
the
their
end
goal?
game?
Why were they there? Good
Okay,
question.
so I seen all these things about that, and I can't for the life of me understand why the only weapon ish type thing that somebody brought in there was a taser.
Not true.
Not true.
There were firearms
Not true.
found.
The
Not true.
firearms. The
Yes, there were firearms. There was bear spray. There's actually somebody in prison right now for a firearm, and
Correct.
also the not the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers had a cache of weapons across the river in a hotel, waiting to be brought over once things went. See, things didn't go the way they hoped it would go because not only were they failures, they were stupid. You can't get all of the dumbasses and say we want you. You know, that's what happened. I'm sorry. I just get so
You're right.
upset
No,
about this.
Hold on, Moongun. So if there were, so you said everything is hearsay. So if in Donald Trump's own words, he said that he would want to terminate the Constitution, would that be enough for you to say, I can't support this guy?
I mean, maybe, but look.
Okay,
I'm
hold
not.
on.
I'm not.
Let's
I'm not a
not
MAGA
talk.
cultist.
Let's not talk. Maybe. Hold on a second. Again, you
You'd
said
have to, you would have
took
to
it.
show me other evidence in.
Excuse me. Hang on one second. You said you took an oath to the Constitution, the same oath that Gregory took, the same oath that Olive's dad took. And I'm asking you, if in Donald Trump's own words, he said, he'd terminate the Constitution, would that be enough for you to stop supporting him? You can't be a hypocrite. You can't say, I took an oath to the Constitution, and then when someone says, let's terminate the rules in the Constitution, I'm still going to support the guy. So which is it?
I would have to see what he said. I'd have to see what he said.
Donald J. Trump from Truth Social. Okay, this is at the real Donald J. Trump. So, these are his words. So, with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception, working closely with the big tech companies, the DNC and the Democratic Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner? Or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution.
And now Moon tells us what he actually meant. Right?
Did
What
you
did
know
he
that he
mean,
said
Moon?
that, Moon?
No, I did not know that he said that. That's interesting.
It's disgusting. So this is the thing, bro.
But
All right, hold on. This is the thing. So you've connected your identity to this man, and sadly, because it's so deep into this connectivity that no matter what we know to be true about him, you will not believe it. You won't accept it. It's time to start accepting it. Well, again, every time we brought something up, you were looking for an excuse to defend it. Every time we brought something up, you were looking for a way out to blame it on somebody else instead of blaming it on the person who said it. Again, a reminder, a massive fraud of this type and magnitude, of course, there was no fraud because he lost, allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Moongoon, you took an oath to the Constitution. What more do you need?
to hear more of the other side's argument. I mean, you see what I'm not a Trump cultist, I promise.
No, you are, bro.
I'm really not.
Absolutely. No,
you
you are.
kind of are.
You are.
No, I'm really not. Because I
You
can name
are.
several things that I don't like that he did.
But see, again, friend, no one wants to be told they're in a cult, so I'm not going to do that, okay? Although the behavior that we're seeing right here is proof positive, friend, okay? Every time we've brought something up, you went to attack the 4-star generals. You went to attack the left. You went to attack accusations. You went to attack the news. The only person you have not attacked based on his disgusting behavior is the person who has done it.
And if you look at all the stories that come out on Trump, when they eventually, after it all plays out, weeks down the road, where does it usually fall? Doesn't it fall that he was the one lying?
A lot of the news sources that come out and say Trump says these things without context are DNC supporters. They're Democratic supporters. They're Democratic companies.
Again,
Like
see,
CNN?
you did it again, friend. Moon, you did it again. You can't continue to say that you're not in the Trump cult when you act exactly, because first rule of a cult is the cult does nothing wrong.
Oh, he's done wrong. He's done wrong. Trust me.
Then be a man. Then be a man of your oath. Be a man of integrity and say, I'm done with this guy because he's a fucking traitor.
I don't think he's a traitor. I don't think he's that bad.
That's wild.
Oh my
That's
God.
absolutely wild to me, dude. Absolutely.
You guys sound like the opposite of Alex Jones. Oh, they're putting the chemicals in the water and they're turning around. You guys think everything's a conspiracy. You guys think like he's the head
Alex
of the
Jones. Wait
Why
a
are
second.
you bringing it?
Hold on.
Because that's
Alex
what you guys
Jones, the guy
sound
who
like,
called.
man.
I'm sorry. Hold on. The guy who called Sandy Hook a false flag. That guy.
Yes.
You don't think he
You
did
guys
that?
sound like conspiracy theorists.
Holy shit. Okay.
You know, the other thing too, and that last dude who was talking, I've been to Arlington a handful of times. The Section 60, you are not allowed to be near whatsoever. The only people there are Arlington cemetery workers. That's it.
Yeah. So I was reading about it. Go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
Yeah, Section 60 actually is where, like, if people who are passing away at this time are being buried there, so it's a solemn area because there's active, at any given time, there could be an active funeral going on. And
Correct.
that's why they keep it like, we don't want any photographs, we don't want any big hoodoos. You know, it's not like he was in the World War II section. You know, I mean, they disrespected, they were giving the rules, and they totally disregarded them, which is right on brand. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less. But
Okay, can you guys hear
I'll
me?
go ahead and drop down, and
Thanks, Greg.
but I'm still here.
Okay. Appreciate it. Good morning,
Yes, sir.
Eric.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Okay, now I've been watching this for a second, and it is all kind of funny.
Well, hang on one second. I just want to make sure we set the ground rules first. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I just want to know who you're planning on voting for in November.
I can't vote because I am a convicted felon.
Okay.
But now I'm gonna bring a couple points to you guys.
Can you answer my
since
question?
you guys been hammering him on all the publicity and stuff like that?
Excuse me. If you weren't a convicted felon, who would you plan on voting for?
I would vote for Trump.
Okay. So tell us why.
Okay, let's start with actually matter to the people. For one, the border. Now I understand you guys are about to probably say, "Oh, he
Eric, the conversation today.
everybody
Hold
not
on
to
a
pass
second. The
the
conversation.
border,
Eric, stop
policy
talking.
that was-
Eric, stop talking. Eric, stop talking. The conversation today is about the fact that Trump is a traitor and doesn't support veterans. So you would support someone who denigrates veterans and is a traitor to the Constitution?
You say what?
You got bad service, brother. You're more than welcome to connect again, but you got the 4 bars, so you're more than welcome to connect again. Okay. Everybody, please keep tapping and sharing. I think there's a gifting deal we might have gotten there. We're marching towards 200 subscribers. We'd appreciate that. We'll do a subscriber-only event. Please gift our panelists. Please engage with the live. Please join our team. It's the little heart button up there. Keystone, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing, man?
Doing fine, thank you. Who are you planning on voting for in November?
Real quick, I watch you. I'm a big fan. I'm voting for Harris.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be ops. So I'm going to let you bring somebody else up. But I really had to come in because I was listening to Moon, you and Moon Goon. You had him so close to just like seeing the light. And then all of a sudden he flipped into the Alex Jones stuff. And I really don't, I don't know how that happens. How did that even happen?
It's the mentality.
It's the cult
Yeah.
behavior, Key. It's the cult behavior. That's what happens when you're cornered like that, because imagine this, your entire identity is connected to something. So if you admit one thing that he's done is wrong, then the entire wall crumbles around you.
Correct.
So that's part of it. So that's why you see that deflection. It's predictable. We've seen it. I mean, I talked to thousands of people, and
I mean,
predictable. That's what you see.
he was choking on his words. He couldn't get anything out. All of a sudden, he kind of froze up, and then I thought, okay, this guy's gonna see the light. He took an oath, and then Trump is saying things that you can't take out of context. He's saying blatantly that he is gonna do these things. So yeah, good luck, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, Fax.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you very much. Have a good day.
I love it when they say you took it out of context. Like, he's a grown ass man. No one needs to decipher what he's saying.
That's right.
Like, what?
But
Welcome back, Eric.
here-
Hopefully your service is better this time. So the question that I asked you is that if you were able to vote, and I think it's important that we hear from people. I understand your situation that you can't vote as a convicted felon, but you would still vote for someone who is a traitor to the Constitution.
I mean, if that's what you guys deem him as, absolutely.
Well,
but
it's his own words. It's not what we deem him as. It's his own words.
I will defend myself on the reason I would vote for him. I know if you guys live in these Democrat cities, you guys have to see what is going wrong.
What's a Democrat
with the border.
city, Eric? What's a Democrat city?
California.
California's a state.
Colorado.
What's
Aurora,
Colorado's a state?
Colorado.
Okay, Aurora. Cool. So we're not talking about that, brother. Okay. So I
See,
guess
that's the thing. You guys are talking about stuff that don't even matter.
Well, it matters to me.
Yes, it matters to you, but
I'm sorry that I want people. No, wait, Eric. I'm sorry that I don't want to stand
Olive,
with
can
the
you
man.
handle this for a second? I got somebody at my
For a
door. Can you
second. Yeah, you're good.
You got this.
It's insane to me how you could sit there and say, like, it doesn't matter. These are people who unalived for this country. There's people who actively served, and it doesn't matter for the comments that he's made about our active duty members and our veterans.
And what about the 13
and our military
members that
family?
were...
Okay, so that's the thing, Eric, right? You guys always want to pivot to that. If you actually understood the full context of it, you would understand that in December of 2019, Trump negotiated with the Taliban, including the Afghan government, for the release of 5,000 Taliban prisoners, also telling him when we planned on pulling out. Not even to mention the fact of how he minimized our American troop presence prior to. Eric, when you are going out and about, right, and you go on vacation, are you telling the local burglars at your place when you're leaving?
Now I don't have to do that because I have electric fence around my whole property with multiple German
but that's
shepherds.
not the point.
I don't worry about burglars.
The other thing you need to understand, though, is that he negotiated with it prior to. They were aware of what was going on. Not even to mention the fact that one of the 5,000 Taliban prisoners he released was the one that unalived those 13 service members. So again, he negotiated prior to. He negotiated. There are still words coming out of my mouth, right? And I don't know if you can hear.
I haven't had a chance to speak. I know.
She'll
I
let
understand.
you talk. Don't worry, Eric. I know, Eric. You're having trouble letting women finish in general, but let Olive finish, please. I'll give you a chance to talk.
The biggest thing is the fact that you guys always want to tokenize those 13 service members without knowing the full context of it all, but yet you fail to recognize that there were multiple different conflicts underneath the Trump administration and how many people were unalived under there. But y'all don't want to tokenize them. It's honestly sick and gross.
So, Eric, I want to give you some numbers. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of numbers, okay? 17, 15, 22, 9. Do you know what those numbers are?
Nope.
Those are the soldiers that were unalived in Afghanistan during the Trump administration. So why didn't he visit any of those graves for this political stunt?
I'm trying to figure out why Biden, when he lost 13 members,
that's not the question I asked you.
He hasn't even said the names.
That's not the question I asked you, Eric. That's not the question I asked you. The question I asked you.
So what you're saying is I can only answer your questions. I can't make no questions at all.
How about you answer the question, and then if you want to ask me a question, you can. But let me answer my question.
I have done nothing
17,
but listen to
15,
your guys' questions.
Excuse me, 17, 15, 22, 9. That's what, 30, 32, that's like 60.
65-ish.
65-ish. So 65 servicemen and women lost their lives in Afghanistan during the Trump administration, but he only talks about the 13, and he goes for this political stunt yesterday, thumbs up, smiling. How come he didn't visit any of the tombs of the other people who lost their lives? Why is that, Eric?
Why isn't nobody bringing up all of the losses under the Obama administration? The thousands.
Brother, did I ask about Obama? I'm asking you about Trump.
We're
Why
talking
didn't
about the
Trump-
Democrat Party, obviously.
Why
what you're
didn't
talking
Trump? Why is it so hard to answer questions for you? Have you not had enough coffee?
Oh, I've had a whole pot.
Awesome. Maybe you can think. Answer the question. Why hasn't Trump gone to any of the other grave sites of the people that lost their life when he was the president? Why is that?
Where's
Instead,
your proof?
he goes to
Where's
this
your
politi-
proof that he didn't? Because it wasn't on the news, the social
Because-
media.
Again,
That's been
what
ran
does
by
he
the
talk about?
Democrats?
Did you know that those people lost their? Did you know that those people lost their life when he was the president?
Yeah, under a war that he did not start. Weird.
Who said he started it?
You're right.
So again,
You're blaming him for something that he never even was a part of.
he blames
He
Joe
came
Biden.
into the administration.
Well, he
with
blames
what's
Joe
already
Biden every
going
day,
on.
right? Doesn't he blame Joe Biden every day?
Yeah, he should.
Oh, so Joe Biden, who didn't start the war, just like Trump didn't start the war. Joe Biden is responsible for lives being lost, but Donald Trump is not.
Hold on, there was no wars going on. Trump canceled all that shit. Biden is the one that sent them in.
Okay, I just can't. That's
Wait,
just
how
the
do you
stupidest
cancel?
thing I've
How do
ever
you
heard in my life.
how do you cancel? How do you cancel? How do you cancel? Do you just like
Okay.
shout out, "Hey, stop it! Just
Stop.
stop it! Stop it!"
If you're in the
Just stop
box
it.
and you're friendly, if you wouldn't mind just dropping out for now, and we'll try to pick up the conversation later. Good morning, Michael. How are
sorry.
you?
I'm
Okay.
good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Who are
guess
you
I
planning on
gotta
voting for,
drop
Michael?
out.
Okay,
I'm
I
voting
appreciate
for
that.
Harris.
Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate that. All right. So if you're a friendly, if you wouldn't mind dropping out for now, and I just want to remind people once again that the numbers 17 in 2017, 15 in 2018, 22 in 2019, and 9 as of August of 2020. It wasn't updated past that. So I find it fascinating that those conversations the right is never willing to have. Why is that?
And
Why
the-
is
I-
that?
Because they don't want to admit it, and it's not even the fact. They talk about, well, they never say their names. Can you say their names? I could say their names. I actually communicated with Maxton's mom. I fundraised for his mom for a funeral for him.
Good morning, Stephen. How are you?
All right, how are you?
Doing fine, thank you. Who are you planning on voting for in November?
I plan on voting for Trump, but I don't really have too long because I'm getting ready for work.
Okay.
But I just wanted to touch base on some of the things that have already been talked about. I can't really speak to why he maybe hasn't visited, and I mean I haven't done a research on those numbers that you mentioned during his presidency, but I've seen enough to know that he is visiting grave sites, he is visiting memorials, and doing those presidential things. Whereas
Presidential things. So he wasn't the president when he went to Arlington on Monday, was he?
I say that because that should be a president's job, whereas Biden is falling asleep and checking his watch.
I'm sorry. Is Biden the president? Is Biden running for office?
No, but he's still the commander in chief, and we're
Cool.
talking about
Great. So we're talking about Trump. So has Joe Biden ever denigrated veterans?
So I'm not a believer that of the suckers and losers.
You don't believe that he said that?
I don't believe he said that. I know
Right.
that general that said he did. But being a veteran myself, I have been screwed over by the politics in the Marine Corps.
Oh,
That,
so you're gonna not believe the 4-star general, but you're gonna believe the pathological liar?
well, I don't think he's necessarily a liar, but no, I do not believe the 4-star general. I don't think that just makes him a truthful person, because I think the same is said for Ashley Biden's diary. That just because she
Oh my
said
God!
that she
Oh
didn't
my
say
God!
that,
Stephen,
that is true.
Stephen.
her own
Hey, bro, let's slow down a second. So, did you hear the conversation we were having earlier with what cult behavior looks like? Because this is what cult behavior looks like, friend.
necessarily. I mean, like this is the same thing. It's just tomato. You're saying this person said Trump said this. Trump says I did not say that. That has been debunked. And you say, well, we don't believe you because we think you're a liar.
So a 4-star general on the record, okay? I can play you some audio that you could listen to. A 4-star general on the record says this is what happened. Again, as our vet who came up earlier talked about, 2 separate instances. Suckers and losers, and then at Bella Wood, you were in the Marine Corps, you said, right?
Correct.
What is Bella Wood?
The Battle of Bellawood, yeah.
So it's revered. It's revered in Marine Corps lore, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so at the gravesite, he was standing next to General Kelly, and Trump said, "What was in it for them?" You cool with that? Did you or did you not take an oath to the Constitution? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then you must be disgusted by someone who wants to terminate it, right?
Well, I gotta say, I don't think he's necessarily wanting to terminate the Constitution. But
Well, why would he say it then?
I said the exact same thing. I was disgusted when I saw the National
Why would he
Guard.
say it? Excuse me. Why would he say it? Why would he say he wants to terminate the Constitution?
Well, I mean, I'd be happy to look at anything where he has said that, because I'll be honest.
So this is from Donald J. Trump on his Truth Social. Okay. So this is his words. So with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC and the Democrat Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner, or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in, wait for it, the Constitution.
Okay. I think
is that fake news too?
I think what he's saying there. I'm not saying that he is saying that he wants to terminate the Constitution, but what I'm saying is I think that what he is saying, what he is implying, is that based off of his belief on how the election went and how disgraceful it was, that this
was the election stolen, Stephen?
This could lead to the termination of the Constitution.
Who's calling for the termination of the Constitution now, Stephen?
I don't think he's calling for it. I think he's saying, like, look, this is...
A massive fraud of this type of magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution.
Correct. Allows for, but does not say I am advocating for.
So are you the Trump whisperer now?
It's like him. It's like you saying that because he says we are on the road to World War III, that he is advocating for World War III.
Once again, Stephen. Once again, okay. Are you a Trump whisperer? Do you know what he meant? Because I'm looking at the words that he said.
Right. Exactly. And I'm doing the same thing, but I'm trying to use context clues here because he is not advocating for the destruction of the Constitution. I think.
And you know that how?
Well, just read it. I mean, there's
a massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for, meaning that allows us to terminate all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. How much more clear does it need to be? First of all, a former president of the United States even alluding to something like that, bro? You took an oath to the Constitution, didn't you?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then imagine if I replaced Donald J. Trump with Joseph R. Biden and he said the same thing. You would be losing your fucking shit, and you know you would. Don't be a hypocrite.
I don't think you're a Stephen whisperer, but I would.
Okay, well, if you're a Trump whisperer, I'm a Stephen whisperer.
I would look at it the same way. The thing is
come on, man.
When it comes to big tech, and I got to roll out of here, so I'll get out of your ear here in just a second. When it comes to big tech, when it comes to big media, I know that everybody has the media to run to, and they say, well, don't believe Fox because Fox and Newsmax, they're always going to be reporting differently. It seems as though ABC, MSNBC, CNN, they're just mouthpieces for the DNC and the Democrats.
So CNN, that's owned by a right-wing conservative?
CNN is very Republican.
I mean, just back during COVID, I mean, we had Project Veritas release that video.
But we're not
Project Veritas. Yeah, that's a reliable source. You go to work, friend. Maybe pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Holy shit.
Why did big tech come into play? What the fuck? Why
if you're in the request box, friends, and you're friendly, if you wouldn't mind dropping out, Olive and I are just looking to have conversations for now with just folks who are in support of what Trump did. Especially, I want to talk to patriots. I want to talk to people who deem themselves as patriots who still want to vote for Trump. There's a new gifting goal set up, by the way. Sorry, I got a call.
No, you're good. Did you see Stephen Chung's response about what happened on Monday?
I did. Yeah, about how I've got the quote right here. So
the fact that this person went through a mental mental episode. Yeah.
Yep.
The word choicing alone.
Yep. Section 60, by the way, was dedicated in 2018 and contains roughly 900 service members that were unalived in Afghanistan and Iraq. And as Greg pointed out earlier, it's an active burial site, meaning
Correct.
that there are people that are still being buried there. And the
Yes.
rules are very clear. It's a federal law. I can read it. I have it right here. Let's see.
And people can also see this law on the Arlington Cemetery's website. This
That's
is
right.
open. This is common knowledge.
That's right. I have it. That's right here. Okay. Federal law prohibits political campaign. This is, again, the law. Federal law prohibits political campaign or election-related activities within Army National Military cemeteries to include photographers, content creators, or any other persons attending for purposes or in direct support of a partisan political candidate's campaign. Arlington National Cemetery reinforced and widely shared this law and its prohibitions with all participants. Again, this event was turned into a campaign ad that he is now fundraising on in violation of the law. And laws exist in this document that was created back in the 1780s. Olive, what was that thing called?
1780s?
The Constitution.
Yeah, the Constitution. That big thing.
Right, the thing that these MAGA traitors have all taken an oath to. So let's
also
talk.
Can't. It's all subjective, though. Remember that? Law's subjective.
Correct. Yeah, it's all projecting. Good morning, John. How are you? John, how are you? Hey, John, are you there? John? Good morning, John. Are you there? Okay. I think John might be busy with something. I'm not sure what, though.
What the fuck were those bubbles?
I don't know. I don't know. Shane, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Fine, thank you. Who are you planning on voting for in November?
Well, if I was to vote, it would be Trump. And
Okay.
the only thing I had to say about your background there is the first 5 presidents, if I'm correct, were all deemed traitors to the crown. And every single
Okay, that was, what, 200 years ago?
It
Shane?
doesn't matter. Hold on.
It doesn't?
Let me
It doesn't
finish.
matter?
Let me finish.
Okay, I'll listen to your nonsense. Go for
Your
it.
statement says true patriots would never vote for a traitor.
Right.
Washington was voted for. Hamilton was voted for.
Hamilton wasn't a president.
The list can go on.
Wait, hold on. Did you say Hamilton was voted for?
Hamilton wasn't a president, friend. So who considered them traitors, though? Let's go back. If you want to have a history lesson, Shane, who considered them traitors?
The Loyalists did. The English crown did.
The crown did. And who did we gain our independence from?
The crown.
Right.
They all
So wouldn't it make sense that the crown would refer to us as traitors?
Yes, but
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for walking into the point, friend. Now, let's get to modern day. Let's get to modern day, shall we?
in fact,
Donald Trump is a traitor. You would support him? You would support him if you could vote?
you didn't specify who called them traitors. You just said they were called traitors. Now,
Crown referred to them as traitors, right?
if your post is accurate, no one would have
True
voted.
patriots would never vote for a traitor. The crown called them traitors, okay? So therefore the crown didn't vote for people. American citizens voted for the presidents of our United States.
The citizens of the independence of the Americas were deemed traitors.
By whom?
On the world stage, they were considered traitors.
By whom?
Everyone except for the colonists.
Right. So in the colonists, who were the ones that voted for them?
The French said that they were traitors to the crown.
Okay, cool. Who were the ones that voted for them? Who were the ones that voted for the American presidents?
Voted for the traitor Washington to be president.
Who did?
The true patriots of the colonies voted for traitor Washington.
Did the people that voted for Washington think Washington was a traitor?
Yes, they
They
knew he was.
did?
They were a traitor to the crown.
But they were trying. Oh my God! So who did we claim independence from, Shane?
The crown, dude. English.
Right, the crown. Okay, follow along. Okay, follow along. I'm gonna help you out here, bro. All right.
Man,
So
but you're-
okay, hold on. The crown. So we got our independence from the crown, right? 1776, right? revolutionary. Hold on. Stop talking. Hold on.
The crown.
So hold on. It's all good. We gained our independence from the crown, right? So they were not happy about that, right? So of course the crown would refer to the colonists as the traitors, right? So
Yes.
the United States of America, the 13 colonies, as we are growing as a nation, voted for people who said "fuck you" to the crown. So do you think the people that voted for our presidents, not Hamilton, by the way, do you think they thought that George Washington was a traitor, or do you think they thought this is the guy who kicked Britain's ass?
Knew he was a traitor. They knew he was a traitor to the crown. Everyone knew that Washington was a traitor to the crown. Everyone.
Shane, listen, I'm going to call you Alexander. Alexander, listen, I understand what you're saying, bro, but the American citizens voted for George Washington not because he was a traitor, but because he was the leader of the independence. He was the general. He was the commander-in-chief. He was the shit.
What is the president called again? Commander in what?
Commander-in-chief.
So the commander-in-chief, the general, Washington, was a traitor to the crown. Everyone knew it, so yes, they all voted for a traitor.
Okay.
Shane, I think you should go watch
Have a good day, buddy.
You need to go watch the Hamilton musical.
Makes my
dude.
fucking head hurt. Holy shit.
The Crown, Steve, The Crown.
The Crown, that's right.
The Crown.
All right, let's continue. Again, friends, if you are in the box and you're friendly, if you wouldn't mind jumping out for a second, Ben, you can stick there. I want to talk to you about something. Ty, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Who are you planning on voting for?
Trump.
Okay, can you help defend the actions over the last 48, 72 hours with what happened at Arlington Cemetery?
I can't defend that because I don't know that much about that event. But your headline, "True Patriots Never Vote for Traitor," is really compelling to me because, especially with Zuckerberg's last letter to Congress about how the Biden administration censored and forced him to censor stuff. If you want to talk,
is that what they said? Is that what they said?
Well, it's if you read it, it's true. But if you want to talk traitor,
what did it say? What did it say? So Donald Trump came out on True Social and talked about that. What did he say?
I did not see that, so I don't know what he said. But let me just tell you something about traitor.
Hold on.
A traitor is someone.
Excuse me.
Okay,
the Hunter Biden laptop on True Social. Trump talked about the Hunter Biden laptop story, right?
I honestly don't know.
So then, why did you bring it up?
Well, because it's getting to my larger point. A traitor.
Hold on, but you don't know anything about it, but you brought it up anyway.
Well, I mentioned that in passing. I'm trying to get to a main point of voting for traitors. Harris and Biden both took oaths of office and then were completely dereliction of duty by letting nearly 20 million people cross the border, giving them taxpayer funds to support them. We have gangs in Aurora, Colorado, and Denver taking over entire apartment complexes.
You don't think we've had gangs before? Is this the first time we've ever had gangs in our history?
It's the first time we've had Venezuelan gangs.
Really?
Hi.
So why did Trump destabilize Venezuela then?
Oh my God.
Oh God! Trump destabilized Venezuela. This is ridiculous. Listen, they let 20 million people in our country illegally.
Really? So how do you enter the country legally, Ty?
You go through the proper channels. You apply for citizenship. You apply for refugee status.
No, you don't. That's one way, but that's not the only way. So, Ty, if you want to have a conversation, bro, you got to learn to just a little bit of self-control. So do you know the process of how you can claim asylum in the United States?
Well, I don't know the exact process, no, but you do.
Okay, so then if you don't know the process, bro, you come up here with this rhetoric. Do you know? If you don't know the process, then you can't make statements making these claims when you have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, you don't. Yes, I can, because you don't let 20 million people illegally into the country. There are entire streams of people running into our country.
What makes it illegal, Ty? This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. What makes it illegal?
What makes it illegal is it's illegal. It's treason. What Biden and Harris did by opening the gates and sending the message.
Ty? What makes
You're ignoring the fact they are importing
I'm trying
voters.
to get. I want to have a conversation.
No, you want to talk details because you're going to make me not seem smart because I don't know the exact process of the forms that you fill out. No, this is classic.
I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. That's what you did to every guy that's got on here. You made him feel like an idiot. You missed the last guy's point. about traitors. You're missing
no,
my
I
point because you
certainly
want to
did not
dive into
miss
the
the last
details.
guy's point. Ty,
Yeah, you're missing. You want to
Ty.
make everybody feel stupid because they don't know the. I don't know the
I
forms
don't think you
you
need
fill
any help
out.
from me, friend. I really don't think you need any help from me. I'm just trying to get you to answer a question.
No,
If
you're trying to make me look stupid because I don't know the exact way that you apply for asylum. But we don't allow 20 million people to march into the country, and you're missing that point.
First of all, we haven't done that.
Yes, we have.
No, Ty. See, again, you're missing.
No, you're just wrong. You can keep saying I'm wrong, but you're wrong because I see the facts.
You don't what facts do you see?
Go to Aurora, Colorado. Watch the Venezuelan gangs take over the apartment complexes.
So Venezuelan gangs. Okay, cool. So again, what are the facts about attempting to enter our country? What makes it illegal? This is what I'm trying to.
Is it illegal to just walk into our country?
It's a misdemeanor, Ty.
Right. And what are we supposed to do when people walk across the border?
Well, you should probably have maybe there would be a border bill that would be comprehensive.
No. Maybe we take.
I'm trying to answer your question, Ty. I'm trying to answer your question.
I'm doing what you do to people. You walk across the border, we vet you. Who are you? What are you here for? And then we find out if you're a good person or you're a bad person. And then we either send you back or we let you in. No, you do this to everyone else, but you don't like it when it's done to you because you delve into minute details that don't matter.
What's galv?
Dude, Ty.
I don't know what galv is.
Gals?
Thank you.
Galv
So again, the process at the border is law. So do you believe that the United States has laws regarding immigration? Yes or no?
Yes, we have laws for immigration.
Right. Okay. So do you know what the law is to claim asylum? That's all I'm trying to get you to.
I do not know the law to claim asylum.
All you have to do is step foot on American soil. That's it. You don't have to come through a port of entry. You can come over a wall, through the river, through the woods to grandmother's house. It doesn't
you can be
matter.
flown in on jets.
You can also be flown in. Absolutely. But all you have to do though is step foot.
They did that secretly, by the way, until they got busted.
Excuse me. All you have to do is step foot on American soil to make the claim. Now, did you know that again, under U.S. law, you have a year to make your asylum claim? Did you also know that well over 90% of people who make an asylum claim in our country, their asylum claim is not approved and they are sent back? Did you know that?
That is an untrue statement.
So, I'm going to prove that to you. All right. I'm going to prove it to you.
Please do.
Okay. So again, the claim that I'm making to you is that over 90% of asylum claims are denied. And you don't believe that. Why do you not believe it?
Because, like I've said, I've seen with my own eyes. I'm not sitting in my bedroom watching CNN and believing
I don't watch CNN.
No, but you're sitting in your living room watching Fox News with the same talking points. That's what you're doing, Tom.
No, I don't even watch Fox News.
Of course you don't. I don't watch Fox News, but I sound just like them.
Thanks for that insult there, Olive. But here's the thing. We know for a fact that you can go to ssa.gov right now, and you can look up.
What's SSA?
Never
it
heard
is
of
Social
SSA.
Security Administration, but what it does is it tracks new
What does
voter
that have to do with the
applications.
border? What does that have to do with the border?
Well, let me finish. And
don't like letting men
SSA
finish.
tracks
They're stupid.
voter registrations when people don't have IDs.
During fiscal years, FY, this is from Congress.gov through the border through National Department of Homeland Security. During the last 15 fiscal years, FY 2008 through fiscal year 2022, based on the total sum of outcomes, the annual asylum grant rate has ranged from 11.17% to 16.17%. So 85 to 90% of asylum claims are denied.
Okay, that's great. What about all the people that are just getaways? That the millions, literally millions.
How would you know how many get away if they got away, Ty?
Well, you can listen to what ICE is saying. You can read.
Let's think about this. Let's think about this for a second. How would we know how many people got away if they got away?
Well, I can turn on my computer and I can dig up these facts, but the reality is you're denying them.
So I could look for it. I've got my computer in front of me right now. I could look for it. How do I find out how many people got away?
Okay, use your computer.
Can you answer my question, please?
Well, I don't.
How would we know how many got away?
I don't know how they know. There's numbers on it. The government can give you this. Let me ask you this. How many people do you think have crossed the border? Okay, I'll find it out for you. Hold on. I'll search for it. Hold on.
Okay.
It's funny because you're laughing and
Can
you don't
look
even
for
know.
Can you look for Bigfoot and the Easter Bunny while you're digging too,
I was
bro?
gonna
I'd
say,
appreciate
can you
that.
tell me
Hold on.
the
This is so
the
funny
tooth
because
fairy
you
had
act like they
Misty
don't know
Short?
this.
If you can
I
also
just
find
want
a
to
tooth
know. I mean, you
fairy,
could make a guesstimate, but how would you know how many got away if they got away?
I'll tell you. I'm not a
Okay.
government ICE official. I just read the data. So
no,
here's
you
the
don't even
thing.
read.
How
You
many
don't even
people?
read, Ty. You don't even read. You
Oh,
don't.
yes.
You
Yeah,
don't.
okay, okay.
Oh
How
no,
many
you
people
don't.
do
I'm
you
sorry,
think?
bro. I'm just confused.
How many people do you think have come into our country illegally during the Biden-Harris administration?
So
What's your guess?
I'm gonna bring up my friend Cass. Okay, we're gonna have a conversation about
This is
this.
not Cass.
Good morning,
Oh,
friend.
that's
I'm
This is
sorry.
Noel.
not Cass.
I'm sorry, friend.
It's
Noel.
okay.
It's Noel, you're under your brand, so I took a guess,
Yes,
50-50.
yes.
So I
Hi,
think our
Noel.
friend Ty is a bit confused. I know
Yeah.
that this is a topic that is near and dear to you. You want to try to help him out a little bit?
Well, I mean, I've been listening to Ty try to rationalize what's illegal and what's not when it comes to migrants. And it's rather interesting because, Ty, I appreciate your passion. I'm trying to figure out where this number 20 million came from. And whenever people say a number of migrants come to this country, I'm always trying to rationalize it with something that I've heard Trump say, right? For example, when Joe Biden and Trump had their debate, he started at 13 million and worked his way all the way to 15 million in the matter of one sentence without even finishing it, right? He somehow 3 million made it through our country in the time that he said that sentence because he didn't give an accurate number, right? And then now it's gotten all the way up to 20 million. I'm wondering by the election if it's going to be up in the 50s or 60s, first and foremost, because that's crazy how that number just keeps jumping with no rationale or any kind of data to back it up. But either way, Ty, there's a lot of really important things that Vox has told you about asylum seekers. And I really think you should look into the law, the asylum law, versus looking up some numbers on some bogus website. Why don't you look into the U.S. asylum law? And then while you're at it, look at our Constitution about due process that's owed to aliens, because that's something that's in our Constitution. So I don't know how you feel about our Constitution. Personally, that's typically how our SCOTUS decisions are made. That's how a lot of politicians set a lot of parts of our policies in our country. I typically look to that. I would look to that as well. Before you call them illegal, you probably should know the law, right? Because if it doesn't break the law, then they're not illegal. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the point that we're trying to make, Ty. So again, I know it seems like. Thank you, Noel. Appreciate you. Stay right there, please, if you don't mind.
My pleasure.
So Ty, I think the point that we're trying to make with you, bro, is that we don't know where you're getting your information from, but what you're talking about is it's easily provable. So you didn't believe that it was roughly 90%, and I didn't get the exact number, but I hit it pretty much in the middle. It was roughly 90% of asylum claims are denied. You didn't believe that. So we've got the data to prove it now. And then
I just think there's a significant number of people that aren't worried about whether they're denied or not.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, friend. Hold on a second. Let me finish. Usually you start a sentence not in the middle of mine, but let me get there, okay? So again, you didn't believe that data existed. We proved it, that it was roughly 90% of asylum claims are denied. And then you went to getaways. And I'm asking you, how would you know if it's a getaway? And you can't prove that it's a getaway because that data doesn't exist. Now, somebody can tell you that. You can get Fox News to say, and millions are getting away. And if you want to believe that is truth, then I'm sorry, friend. It's unfortunate. I don't think you're aware of what the asylum process is. And to Noel's point, very calmly and much more calmly in what mild manner than I would have been. So thank you again for that.
For once.
Fair. But the asylum law exists so that, if you don't like the law, then change it. And what's really weird about that, Ty, is there was a significant piece of legislation that would have addressed exactly what you're talking about that Donald Trump called up his friends in Congress and asked them to not vote on. So these things that you're angry about, and I think we would all agree that we'd like to see some changes to our immigration process. I would personally rather lean in on the humanitarian side and not make it political. Humanitarian, economic, family reunification, those would be my priorities. But if you want to fix the law, you got to fix the law. The law has existed since the 50s. Okay? So I know you're angry about it, but you don't have enough information to be informed about who and what is responsible. So Did anything I say register at all to you?
Well, absolutely. But I'm telling you that because I just woke up and I don't have my computer on and I can't sort of defend what you're saying this early in the morning. But I can tell you that under Trump, when Trump was president, a lot of Democrats like to forget that Trump was president. Trump.
No, I definitely don't forget that Trump was president. I can promise you that a lot of Democrats will never forget that.
And life was good for me and everyone I know.
Not for women.
Well, yeah. Now the abortion thing, I can understand where women would be upset because I feel like most
and a lot of men
country,
too, by the way, and a lot of men too. I'm pretty upset by it as well.
And not for queer people either.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Asian people.
Yeah.
Or
Asian people do the best in our country. They have the highest incomes. They do the best jobs.
Ty, can I ask you a question? Do you remember in the pandemic when our commander-in-chief, President Orange Cheeto Turd, was calling the pandemic the Kung Flu virus or the China virus?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what that did to a lot of Asian Americans?
Well, I know quite a few Asian Americans, and none of them took it personally.
Oh, no. I don't think it's about them taking it personally. I'm talking about like here in New York City where, there was a woman that lived on my block. I've known her for 7 years that New Yorkers were doing this to her. New Yorkers, people that you would consider liberals, right? Which they weren't. There's some conservatives here too, chasing her down and screaming at her when she was on the street because she was an Asian woman and she was out walking her dog. The amount of Asian hate was so superfluous at that time that it literally, if you don't know that, I'm assuming you don't because I'm assuming you are the color of mayonnaise and I understand so am I. Don't worry, we're both in that jar of Hellman's. Yep. But either way, it was
50
happening.
50 Shades of Pale.
50 Shades of vanilla. Yes. Yeah.
Of vanilla.
So Ty, what Noelle was saying to you is that, you might have known someone who thought it was funny, but rise in hate crimes against Asian Americans went up significantly as Donald Trump was calling it the Kung Flu or the China virus. So so was that just a coincidence, Ty?
I don't think I wouldn't peg that all on Trump. There's a tremendous amount of violence. When I talk to my Asian friends, and I have a few. So go ahead and insult me. I'm going to say something here. Most of my Asian friends have all they talk about is the hate and violence that they receive from Black people.
Okay,
and that's their greatest concern.
Nighty night, friend.
Hi, Noelle.
Hi.
Hello. How are you? I'm glad you're here. It's good timing.
Hello.
Yes. So this evening, I know it's a long ways in the future, but
I'm excited.
You're going to be streaming the interview, aren't you?
Yes, I was actually going to talk to you about that, Bax. When you stream it, is there anything that, because I stream it from my iPad and I can turn the lights down low and make it look real nice on the TV, I'm sorry, on the phone, right? Like it's television. But I stream it through like Hulu television, and sometimes because it's branded content, it flags me. So I'm wondering if there's like a YouTube or some other way to stream it through my device that's not going to make TikTok get all pissy.
We get flagged too. They just turn off gifting.
Yeah.
So we haven't been taken down. Nikki can help you out with that. She's got this dialed
all right.
in.
I didn't know if maybe you knew. Okay.
Yeah,
tonight.
First of all, I appreciate you asking.
Eastern.
Well, I appreciate you asking me a tech question, but I am the wrong person to ask that question. So, but I appreciate that. So, 9. What time are you going to go live?
Blue has decided to bark at nothing right now, so I apologize to the dog in advance.
I'll get it. I get that.
But people are going to work, and he wants to let me know that people are going to work in the hallway. But yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern, in this exact account that I'm on right now, this is the Politicities account. We are going to be streaming the first interview. Oh my God. Kamala came out of her bunker, and she's doing an interview, y'all. Aren't you excited? She wasn't just like she spent a whole week with her in Chicago last week, but she's been hiding and she's coming out, y'all.
It's the real Kamala, not the robot, not the cyborg.
It's the real Kamala.
Yep.
Yes.
The real Kamala.
So if you come to Politicities, we will be streaming this interview. It will be on, I think it's is it CNN?
It is.
Yeah, Dana
It
Bash
is
from CNN
Stephen.
is doing
Yep.
it. Yep.
Dana
Stephen.
Bash. And just to be clear to everyone, too, Dana Bash, notoriously Trump supporting Republican. To be very, very clear.
So true. So true.
So y'all can just calm down with that one.
So
But
everybody
anyway,
follow our friend Politicities. Please follow this
please.
account. And then tonight at 9:00, you're going to be streaming that interview. That
Yes.
again, the cyborg Harris is not the one that's going to show up tonight. It's going to be the real one. So,
Cyborg.
We're going to
So,
have the most eloquent, most lovely, most handsome Facts Matter on our panel while we watch it. And then have commentary, maybe on commercial breaks and afterwards. And then also after it, we will have panel. And I will have a rotating panel. If I have enough people that want to come up and talk about it, I don't care who you're voting for. If you want to come up and have a discussion about what we watch, we can have a discussion. So please, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Please be there. We'd love to have you.
appreciate you, my friend, very much. You have a lovely day. I'll talk to you later.
You too. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Noel.
All right. So I want to bring up, I asked Political Mom and the Kristen to come up and talk a little bit about, I know that, first of all, good morning, you guys. I'm so glad you'll be here. The Kristen, I don't think we've spoken in a while, but it's nice to see you again. How are you?
Doing all right. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you can call me Steve. Feel free, okay? So I know Chelsea and I connected a little bit earlier, and I know that this topic is really important to you that we're discussing today. You know, the bullshit regarding the Arlington cemetery, and I know that the Afghanistan conversation is something that you talk about a lot.
Yes.
And I think it's a good time for us, if you wouldn't mind, kind of just indulging a little bit, because I know that this has got to be bothering you big time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the floor is yours.
So for all the 2,300 people watching, hi, my name is Kristen. I've been in the military world my entire life, and I've spent almost 25 years as a volunteer organizer and advocate for those in uniform and their families. I talk a lot about what happened in Afghanistan as it's in the news cycle, and what happened with Trump in Afghanistan, regarding this, for those who lost their lives in Afghanistan. This picture actually is evidence that he has broken federal law. The campaign ad that was released yesterday, filmed at Arlington, is evidence that they have broken federal law. It is illegal for political activities to take place in a military cemetery. And one of the things that I just, beyond that, one of the things that I don't think people understand is in the background of this photograph, what you can see are graves. This is section 60. This is where those who have recently been buried are located at Arlington. And so all of these have people who come to their graves regularly because these people still have family around. And what you also don't see, because this is a close-up in this picture, is that all of these people are standing on other people's graves where the remains of our fallen are located. And next to this picture, this is Nicole Gee, but right next to this picture right next to this grave is the grave of a Marine Corps captain. He was a raider. His name was Moises Navis, and he fell March 8th of 2020. And at no point was anyone looking at his grave. That Trump is responsible for getting that Marine and one other into a situation where they lost their lives. It took his fellow raiders over 6 hours of constant battle to reach their bodies, to retrieve them and bring them home for their families, because Marine raiders leave no one behind. If you want to understand how Donald Trump himself contributed to the loss of our service members, I have a video up where I read all 135 names for everyone in uniform who lost their life, regardless of circumstance, during Trump's administration. And this is really important because we're talking about a man who filmed a campaign ad using our fallen heroes as a backdrop to make himself look better patriotically after he praised a campaign donor and said giving her a medal was much better than the Congressional Medal of Honor because she's healthy and beautiful, and those who receive the Medal of Honor have either been pew-pewed a lot or they are no longer alive. Donald Trump has a huge history of being disrespectful to our service members. And it isn't just what he said, calling John McCain a loser, saying he prefers people who were not captured. It's going back to the campaign originally in 2016 when he mocked the Khan family who lost their son. They are Gold Star parents. And then he was outright Islamophobic towards that Gold Star mother. That is where it began. Those two incidents, and it has never stopped since. And the only way that you can believe that none of the things that Donald Trump has been accused of when it comes to disrespecting our service members, our veterans, and their families is if you believe that every single person is lying except for Trump, that he is the only one telling the truth. He has called our service members suckers. He has called them losers. This year, Donald Trump referred to Gold Star family members, 3 of them specifically, as vile shills. He has nothing but derision for those who have ever worn the uniform. He does not care about our wounded. He certainly does not care about our fallen. If he cared about our fallen, he would care about Chief Petty Officer Ryan Owens, who Donald Trump, over a dinner, decided to order an operation into Yemen. Ryan Owens, Chief Owens, was a SEAL, and he lost his life on that mission. They didn't make that decision in the Situation Room. There was not the State Department there or the CIA or the Director of National Intelligence. It was people who worked in national security having a dinner together, and Trump ordered a military operation without any thought to the consequences. And after Chief Owens, after the Angel flight came back from Dover, his father confronted Donald Trump for being so callous and so casual in ordering that SEAL team into a situation that was so dangerous. And Donald Trump got so butthurt at having to talk to a Gold Star father who was angry, he did not go back to greet our fallen for 2 years.
I want to point out something. Like, watching JD Vance yesterday completely and utterly justify and turn his back on his military service members to back up Donald Trump's disrespect for the law and for our fallen soldiers is absolutely deplorable behavior. And like I told Kristen when we had a phone call, like, I noticed the gravesite that was next to Donald Trump in this photo. Like, I knew who died and where and what operation this person died from. And Captain
Navis
did not deserve to be disrespected in that way. Even his family has now spoken out. Like, that's
Right.
deplorable. And for JD Vance to sit there and justify it, I feel like that's JD Vance's only purpose in this entire election, is to sit there and justify this man's actions. Because I don't know about you, but I'm going to hold every politician to the same standard.
Agreed.
I think it's important. I also think it's important that when we look at this photo, what people don't understand is that the photographer, in order to get this angle, was standing on top of the remains of one of our fallen. They were standing on top of the remains of one of our fallen to get this photo, which is now a political campaign ad.
So
It's just gross.
just to make
It's
this
gross.
very clear, because people in the comments are saying it over and over again, Biden gave an entire speech where he relayed the 13 soldiers that died on the withdrawal of Afghanistan in a speech and named every single one of them. And so he doesn't have to show up to this for a political entire stupid photo op to show his respect for the service members, because every year he has done so. Trump has never acknowledged the families of the ones that died under his administration. He just does it for the 13 so that he can prove a political point.
Well, and he also like, I think it's important that a lot of people say they care so much about the 13 soldiers. They know so much, they care so much about 13 soldiers. They were not 13 soldiers. They were 1 soldier, 1 Navy corpsman, and 11 Marines.
Correct.
And that's the thing. Marines are Marines. So it is the hypocrisy of it, but it is also, once again, a self-serving act using those in uniform and even their very graves, the most sacred and hallowed ground we have for our service members, using their dead bodies for politics to gain power.
The thing is, if he really cared about these service members, he would have never taken a photo. He would have never done any of this. He would have never mentioned it. He would have just gone there like the family asked him to and just gave the respect to the fallen soldiers and then left. But instead, he had a photographer and a videographer already lined up to show up there to film a campaign ad that he already had prepped to do.
Yeah, it was released yesterday. So it was a campaign ad.
It's
and
on
they
my
released it
page
yesterday.
right now. It's the video I filmed this morning. You guys can all go look at it.
Kristen, can I ask you a question? First of all, thank you for your service. Thank you so much for how you broke that down. I really, really appreciate it, and I'm honored you're here. Would you mind if you don't know the process here? I would understand. I'm sort of catching you off guard. What's the protocol for in any area specifically?
At Arlington?
Yeah, I mean, maybe specifically Section 60. Like,
No.
what is the protocol? Okay, thank you.
You have to get a permit, which they did. They got a permit to film the wreath laying. That was what they requested to film, was the wreath laying. Now, before anyone, even just a tourist, goes onto the grounds of Arlington, you receive a briefing. And in that briefing, they tell you that how you are to conduct yourself. They tell you that there's no amount of publicity. Like for myself as a content creator, I would not be allowed to take photos because if I took photos, they would not be personal. They would be seen as something I would use for my platform. Sure. So you receive a briefing telling you this is what the federal law is, stating that, there cannot be political activities in Arlington National Cemetery or any national military cemetery anywhere in the country. They tell you how you're supposed to conduct yourself. They tell you, make sure you do not actually walk on the graves themselves. When you're in certain areas, make sure you speak at a softer volume. Do not pick up anything off of those headstones, especially like coins. Because a lot of people will leave coins, especially the brothers and sisters in uniform. They'll leave like money on top of the graves. There's a significance to that. They tell you not to touch anything. If you want to take a personal photo, that is okay, but they don't want you at any point to be disrespectful. You're not to be like, is essentially what we see right here. Everybody's standing around smiling, holding up the thumbs up. Like, this is highly, highly disrespectful at Arlington. It is a solemn place, and we are supposed to, recognize that and conduct ourselves in remembrance. They had an actual staff member with them from Arlington who was going through and explaining what the rules were. Now, when they got to Section 60, which is where the 3 families, because it was only 3 of the 13, when they got to
Section 60 is active, right? Because that's where at any moment there could be a memorial service there, correct?
So when they got to Section 60, they began setting up in order to, do a video, and they started taking all of these staged photos for his campaign. The staff member stepped in and said, you cannot do this. This is illegal. This is against protocol. You cannot do this. Trump's campaign began to yell and verbally abuse the Arlington staff member. She tried to get them to stop. They shoved her out of the way. She filed an official complaint. There has been a report. She didn't file a police report because she fears the Trump supporters themselves, due to the threats that have already been made online, and the fact that the Trump campaign spokesperson said that her trying to stop them from doing this meant she was having a mental health episode.
First of all, I just want to say this as a special needs mom, the fact that you use mental health or calling someone special needs because they confronted you about something is absolutely deplorable behavior. And this is the law, the federal law, the Hatch Act, in which Donald Trump and his campaign violated, because it says federal law prohibits political campaigns
or election-related activities within Army National Military cemeteries to include photography, content creators, or any person pretending or for purposes or in direct support of a political candidate's campaign, which he absolutely did and absolutely violated.
So,
something I'd like to add to just that, because even if there was questions about whether or not a law was violated, the proper and respectful thing to do would certainly not be to produce an ad within 24 hours of the controversy coming out, right? Mm-hmm. You could, whatever, a simple statement that says, we did not mean disrespect, a simple statement like mistakes were made. But again, there is absolutely no fucking ownership of responsibility for anybody affiliated with this campaign. It is disturbing.
Steve,
yeah.
USMC, Angry Veteran is in the chat. He might better be able to talk about this.
You want to come up, buddy?
Yeah.
I'll invite him.
I like, and you can see from some of the things that people in the chat are saying, get over it. Like you're just like, like derangement syndrome, like all of that. It's just, it shows that they do not care, because families of those in Section 60, multiple families of those in Section 60 have released public statements. All of them opposing what Trump did. And the families of these 3 families that were part of this campaign ad, none of them have actually come out to say that they're okay with what happened. The only thing that
with him showing up for emotional support.
Yeah.
They were not given any, they did not give any permission for the political ad.
Yeah. None of them said that they were aware that there was going to be a campaign ad filmed. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for that, Matt. I know this hits for you, bro.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to excuse me. My voice is kind of hoarse this morning. I kind of lean into obviously everything that you all are saying, because the disrespect that like you said, if it was it's one thing if like the campaign had put out a statement today being like, we didn't mean any disrespect. We were there to support the family. There was some confusion from the campaign, blah, 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 whatever. Just something acknowledging what happened, taking responsibility for the situation, and saying, that was never our intent. That would be one thing. Like you said, the fact that there is now this video that Donald Trump has put out on all of his social medias and on his campaign, and just showing everything. I think the thing that sticks with me the most is this notion that he somehow isn't responsible for those 13 service members' death, when it was his administration that buckshotted a plan to the Taliban through the State Department to say, we're going to pull everybody out by this time, and then had no fucking plan whatsoever to do it when they left office. For me, looking at Donald Trump and his administration, I honestly believe, and I don't have anything, this is just, I am in my feelings about this. I don't have any evidence to support this. I don't have any proof that this is what happened, but this is how I feel about it. I honestly feel that Donald Trump made that withdrawal plan with the Taliban, and in 2020, where he released 5,000 Taliban fighters back to the Taliban, and then had this idea that we're going to be out by this certain point, because he knew he was going to lose the election, and it was going to put Joe Biden into scramble mode to try to figure out how the fuck the United States was actually going to follow through with the bullshit that he had put in place before he left office. I honestly feel that is exactly why he did it, because I feel that if he had won re-election, there would have been excuse after excuse after excuse made about why we couldn't get out of Afghanistan at that time and why we had to stay longer. And
Matt,
this idea
he ordered the total withdrawal at the week after he lost.
I want to read some stats if I could.
No,
can I read some
but
stats?
like he made the week after he lost, he ordered that total withdrawal, but the plan had already been put in place because Mike Pompeo had been making trips to Afghanistan, sitting down with the Taliban, not with the Afghani government and Kabul, but with the Taliban to legitimize the Taliban rule over Afghanistan when we withdrew. So like the groundwork had been laid that that's what it was going to be. And then when he lost the election, bam, all of a sudden it's like, all right, now we're getting out of Afghanistan. And it's
I want to read some quick stats that I found. I think this kind of encapsulates a lot of what you both said. So Trump, not Biden, negotiated directly with the Taliban terrorists and excluded the Afghan army. Trump, not Biden, drew down U.S. forces from 13,000 to 2,500, making them vulnerable to attack. Trump, not Biden, ordered the release of 5,000 Taliban fighters from prison, one of whom would become the new leader of Afghanistan. Stop me if I miss anything, if I get something wrong. Trump, not Biden, wanted to invite the Taliban leaders to Camp David on the anniversary of September 11th. Fucking seriously? Trump, not Biden, agreed to a May 1st exit from Afghanistan, then bragged that he didn't need an exit strategy. Trump, not Biden, refused to brief Biden's incoming team on the situation in Afghanistan. And Trump, not Biden, shut down every airbase in Afghanistan except one, crippling the U.S.'s ability to extract its assets safely.
Right.
Did I misquote anything there?
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so did all of that happen in the first year of Joe Biden's presidency? Yes, it did. It did. Is it Joe Biden's fault? Absolutely not. He was given this shit show of an agreement between the United States government and the Taliban that we were going to be gone, and it was a binding resolution that we were going to be withdrawing by this time. And if he hadn't have done it, then they would have been, if Joe Biden hadn't have followed through with that, it would have been, well, why is Joe Biden a warmonger? Why is he wanting to stick around? Why is he wanting American troops to continue to die in Afghanistan? But then there was no fucking plan put in place by the Trump administration to actually get people out of fucking Afghanistan to begin with.
Can I put one thing in perspective? Like, they put us down to one airport, an easy target to put us down to one airport to withdraw from.
Well,
and like,
I need to expand on that.
Yeah, hold on.
So,
according to John Bolton, we pretty much were going to do 0 troops left. Like, that was the original plan.
So, my husband served in Afghanistan, and so I asked him, about like just the geography. The Kabul airport is surrounded by the city. So when we were pulling out through the Kabul airport, we were surrounded on every side. Our troops were surrounded on every side. And it wasn't just the Taliban. It was also ISIL-K, which is the person who made the attack on Abbey Gate. And that person had been let out of prison 9 days prior. So it wasn't just that we were facing the Taliban. We were also facing ISIL-K. We were also facing other insurgent fighters. And even though they hate each other, they work together to attack us.
I think, again, thank you all for your perspective on this thing. I think what we learned this morning, Olive was here for some of it. Just this bended knee fealty to the gentleman that they believe stands up for the rights and the protections of veterans, and who they believe honors, who they believe is patriotic. And I read them, that Truth Social quote where Trump talked about terminating the Constitution. And of course we saw that deflection. And I know, Olive, with your dad, and Kristen, with you and your husband's service, and Matt with your service, I know how much that stings. I'm sensitive to it. I really am. And I appreciate you guys being up here to talk about it. I guess the question I have is, when you see fellow veterans, I know, Matt, you've been very honest about this. When you see fellow veterans that are stuck in the cult, and I know that everybody has made their own choices, right? I have no tolerance for the intolerant at this point. I'm done with that. I don't want to break bread. But it's got to hit different for you guys as veterans, because you all took the same oath.
It's... I honestly, I don't understand it. I have a hard time reconciling the things that Donald Trump says, the things that he does, with being an honorable American, right? Somebody that loves the country. Donald Trump absolutely loves the people that love him in this country. But if you are not that person that's bending the knee, if you are not that person that is unwaveringly loyal to him, then you will be trimmed off like he's trimming the fat off a steak, and you're going to be cast aside. You can ask any Republican that has been ostracized from their party because they dared question Donald Trump about the 2020 election. You can ask any Republican that has lost standing within their party because they dared to say that Donald Trump is not an honorable person. Ask any single one of them. All of these people, every single one of those people voted with Donald Trump's agenda 99% of the time while he was in office. So the fact that you can build up all of that capital with your president, right, while he's in office, but you say one thing against him, one thing, and then he casts you aside like an old shoe. It blows my mind that anybody, not even veterans, not even just veterans, anybody would look at that person and say, yeah, that's the honorable guy that I want running my country.
You're saying it a lot nicer than I do. I'm just gonna be really honest. Like, you guys know, like, I'm super fucking snarky. So let me just put it to you like this. I have no problem telling someone who swore an oath to the Constitution that they are betraying their oath. I have no problem telling someone who is one of my husband, my brother, my mother, my cousins, my aunts, brothers and sisters in uniform, telling them that they have turned their back on my camouflage family members. You know, I know. I am very aware of the fact that I have never worn the uniform myself. But when I have to stand up for the people that have worn that uniform every single day, and I have to advocate for them every single day, you're damn right I'm going to hold somebody to a higher standard than a civilian. I'm going to hold them to a higher standard because it is my husband's retirement pay that they want him to lose. It is my mother's disability that they want to take away. It is my brother's disability that they want to classify as no longer deserving of compensation. It is my best friend's father's disability that will no longer be covered because it's been more than 10 years. It is all of those who I care about, who are still in uniform, who because of what is on page 16 of the RNC platform, number 2, underneath modernizing the military, the very last sentence, get rid of or get woke left-wing Democrats fired as soon as possible. There's not a single instance in all of history where purging an opposition political party from your armed forces means you're not going to use that military against your own citizens. Not one example. And they would not need to purge our military of Democrats if our military supported them. They would not need to fire 06s through 09s, the most senior of our military leaders, if they had their support. They would not need to replace military leaders with Trump loyalists if they had leaders in position now who already supported him. They don't have that. They do not have the support. And so when people who have served in uniform are more okay with standing up for Trump than they are with standing up for our fallen, for our wounded, for our veterans, for our Gold Star families, for anyone who's wearing the uniform now and anyone who has supported the mission, when they stand up for Trump at the expense of everyone else, you're goddamn right you're betraying your oath.
And I concur to that. And I want to also point out the fact that Walz and Harris have done more for veterans and the VA than Trump has in his pinky toe. Like, Trump hasn't done anything during his 4 years for veterans to compare to what Walz did as a House representative in the Veterans Affairs Committee, or what Harris did as a senator, or what she's done as a vice president, or what he's done as a governor. Because I really encourage you to go over to his governor page and go look at all the things that he did for the military, because Trump couldn't touch any of that. And it's almost ridiculous that we give this guy so much credit when he deserves nothing like that.
Would you guys mind? There's a request from someone who says that they were there in Afghanistan during the pullout. They've requested in the box. Would you guys be comfortable? I have no idea. You know how this works when you host lives. Would you guys be comfortable if I brought them up?
Yeah. Sure. Olive, what were you trying to say? I know you're trying to speak.
I was gonna say, Kristen's known me probably for almost 3 years now, right, Kristen?
Oh yeah, like 2.5, yeah.
Something like that.
I don't think I
So
have.
you're fine, Declan. I promise I'll keep it short. The reason why I vote for the way I vote is because of the people who stand behind my family members. I didn't go through, I never wore a uniform. The uniform I wore was a military daughter. I was a spouse, and now I educate military children. I support these kids. I support their families on a day-to-day basis. The reason why I vote the way I vote is for them, not for me. I care about what they need, not what I need. I mean, there's benefits in both runs, but the reason why I vote the way I do is because I want to make sure my dad and my mom are taken care of. The reason why my brother, who did 2 tours in Afghanistan, the reason why one of my older brothers, who were unfortunately unalived, what he did. They're going to continue I'm going to continue to fight the fight that they did, just in a different sense. So
thank you, Olive.
We love you,
Declan. Thank you for your request, Declan. I think you have some experience you'd like to talk about.
Yeah. So everything that I can't see his full name, but everything that the USMC guy said is pretty spot on. Like, Trump went behind the back of the government that we had helped establish in Afghanistan and promised are we allowed to say it on live? The
T-wrist, the T word, or
he promised them a bunch of territory and stuff behind their back, and then rather than a gradual withdrawal, he shot us from 13,000 down to 2,500 before he left office. And then I ended up getting in August of 2021, I had just gotten back from a training rotation in Colombia with their special forces, and I was on quarantine for coronavirus, and I got pulled out like less than a week after we got back, saying, hey, we know you're in quarantine, but we need everybody on board, so you're coming with. And a couple of days later, I was at HKA in Afghanistan, and the one Kristen, her analysis of like HKA being surrounded by Kabul is completely right. They had mountains as well surrounding the airport. I don't know who this came from, like what intel guys we had, or if it was just like maybe faulty or whatnot. But I was told when we got there that that this was like a very, if anything were to happen, that we would be, we'd be screwed, right? That I was told they have what is it? They had big guns. I don't know whether it was anti-air. I'm guessing it was anti-air on the mountain, pointed down towards us. And obviously the airport was also surrounded by the T-Ban. They were running our checkpoints. Hold on 1 second. That's.
You're doing the dad thing. We respect that, brother.
Declan, can I just say, I just want to take this opportunity, because having you here as part of Operation Allies Refuge, I just want you to know that what you helped accomplish was a fucking miracle. What you had to do was a miracle. It was an absolute miracle. I understand. I'm not disregarding the tragedy of losing 13 lives and wounding so many others. And I know that the PTSD you probably have from that is horrendous. But I just want you to know that the hundreds of thousands of lives that you were able to evacuate and that you assisted in that was a miracle. There is no comparison to what you helped accomplish. And I know that a lot of people will call it a lot of bad things, and that makes it hard for you to talk about. But I just want you to know that you deserve to be honored and recognized for being part of one of the most successful evacuations and airlifts in human history.
I also want to thank you for your service on behalf of everybody in this live and everybody on this panel.
I appreciate it. Yeah, honey, you can put something in there. Sorry, my kid was talking to me.
Oh, you're good.
Sounds good, dude. Be the dad. You have a daughter? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I've got two. I've got a 4-year-old.
Hashtag girl dad, bro. Hashtag girl dad.
Yeah, hashtag girl dad. That's right. Sure, honey, we can get you more.
And I can hear the passion in Kristen's voice, and I'm not going to even go there from what Kristen said and Political Mom said, but thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, or does anybody else have any questions for Declan or anything that they would like to know? Matt, Kristen, Olive, Chelsea?
No, it's just, I think more or less, Declan, is that you should be under aware that even though there's a lot of people who look at what happened, like Kristen said, that it wasn't a good thing, you sacrificed your life. Not only just you, I'm assuming you're married, so your wife sacrificed, your daughter sacrificed as well.
Yeah.
So from a military brat to a military spouse to now actively working with these kids and their families, I just want you to know that you are not underappreciated and that you have a right to be heard regardless of what it is. Point, period, blank.
I appreciate it. I think the most frustrating part has been, it started like as soon as I got back, I was watching, Trump politicize the mess that he started. I think that's, aside from like the people that we lost and the Afghanis that we weren't able to get out. I think those two were obviously like the hardest. But after that bit, watching Trump politicize and blame Biden for the mess that he made the terrible deal and then kicked the can down the road. I think that was rough.
I don't think a lot of people understand that we did give notice to like American citizens and our Afghan partners to evacuate. But if we just look at like American geography, think about this. If you were told that you needed to be to Albany, New York on 1 January in order to get out, okay, and then something happens and you don't make it there on time, now you've missed your evacuation. How would you get through the midst of all that chaos as your country is falling apart and collapsing around you? How would you get from Albany to Seattle in 2 weeks because that is the next evacuation point? Like that is what we're talking about. It was traversing a huge portion of their own country to get to the next evacuation point because we were forced to pull out. And even after 31 August, because we were out by 1 September, that was what was required. Even after that, we still left assets in place to try to do the operations to evacuate as many as we could. We still have veterans right now who are going back to Afghanistan on their own dimes, trying to get the people they worked with in Afghanistan out. I know some of them. I know some of them. I have an Air Force veteran that I am very close with, and he got stuck in an African prison last year with Afghan partners and their families because of the fact that his team went back to try to get them out. And they were locked up in a prison in Africa with those refugees and had to experience and go through and witness horrible things because of trying to get those Afghan partners to the United States to safety. And that is even harder because the programs that allowed them to come to the US, Trump ended those programs. They no longer exist.
Yeah.
When did we go down into one airport?
I was just going to ask that question, actually.
I'm not 100% sure. We were down to one airport by the time
December.
Was it December?
Yeah, it was
so
December
of the previous year. So the drawdown from 13 to 2,500 and then one airport all around the same time. Is that when the process started?
Well, to one base.
Okay.
So it was to one base. So Kabul wasn't considered a military location necessarily. So we had one base by the end of December. We had one base location, and then that location was pulled back from in stages. But we essentially had closed down. I'm trying to open my laptop because I have the Pentagon report. But so we pulled back in stages as much as we could. We were supposed to be out by 1 May. And but Biden's team had to renegotiate with the Taliban to push it back to 1 September because we just flat out did not have enough time.
Well, it's not even that we didn't have enough time. It's that there was no plan.
That
Yeah.
part.
There was no plan.
There
So
was nothing
like
there.
if they had began the process of withdrawing in like January of 2020, right? Here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to start to do it. If the Trump administration had done that, then and all withdrawal by May, whatever, of 2021 absolutely would have been possible. 100% would have been possible. The problem is that they said, we're gonna send Mike Pompeo over to talk with the Taliban and legitimize the Taliban rule over Afghanistan when we leave, despite the fact that we just spent 20 fucking years building up the government that was in Kabul at the time and supporting their rule in that country and negotiating with them and signing treaties with them and doing everything with them, right? Despite the fact that we did that, we send Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, over to sit with Taliban leaders, send them 5,000 leaders back, don't come up with a plan at all, and then a week after the election say, oh, we're pulling out of Afghanistan, still don't start to put a plan together, and then transition over to the new administration and be like, oh, guess what? You've got 4 fucking months to get people out. And there's nothing in place. There's no plan. So all of this, everything that happened in Afghanistan with the withdrawal in 2021, all of it is Donald Trump's fault. All of it.
I want to preface two things. One, that Mike Pompeo absolutely deserves to take accountability for his actions, and that people shouldn't just mention Trump. Mike Pompeo's name should be included every single time. The second thing I want to preference is that the Trump administration refused to give the Biden incoming administration any intelligence briefings on Afghanistan. They refused to do it because they didn't want to help them with the withdrawal of Afghanistan like they were supposed to.
Right.
Can I read this? This is just one paragraph from the 12-page U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan report that was released by the Pentagon. It is only 12 pages because everything else is classified. So here it goes. Over his last 11 months in office, President Trump ordered a series of drawdowns of U.S. troops. By June 2020, President Trump reduced U.S. troops in Afghanistan to 8,600. In September 2020, he directed a further drawdown to 4,500. A month later, President Trump tweeted to the surprise of military advisors that the remaining troops in Afghanistan should be, quote, home by Christmas, end quote. On September 28th, 2021, Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff Milley testified that on November 11th, he had received an unclassified signed order directing the U.S. military to withdraw all forces from Afghanistan no later than January 15th, 2021. 1 week later, that order was rescinded and replaced with one to draw down to 2,500 troops by the same date. During the transition from the Trump administration to the Biden administration, the outgoing administration provided no plans for how to conduct the final withdrawal or to evacuate Americans and Afghan allies. Indeed, there were no such plans in place when President Biden came into office, even with the agreed upon full withdrawal just over 3 months away.
And all the generals that made it clear that he had not even contacted them before he sent out all these messages. The only person that knew that he was going to withdraw all the people was John Bolton, who gave a testimony to concur to that he was told that Trump wanted to remove all military from Afghanistan without consulting anybody.
Yeah.
Can you guys, I'm sorry, Kristen, go ahead.
Secretary of Defense Austin testified on September 28th, 2021, quote, "The intelligence was clear that if we did not leave in accordance with that agreement, the Taliban would recommence attacks on our forces."
Right.
Can you guys help? I think a lot of people would probably appreciate it. I know I would, because one of the things that we hear from opposition would be that we left our equipment behind. Would anybody care to talk about that a little bit? I mean, was it protocol? I mean, I'd love to try to learn.
We've done that literally every time we've evacuated or withdrawn from anywhere. Donald Trump did that when he pulled us out of Iraq and left the Kurds to fight to fight ISIS by themselves. We left billions. There's videos of Russian soldiers going through American camps in northern Iraq, taking weapons and armor and munitions and radio equipment and all this other shit because it was all left there. It was all left there. Now, the reason that we leave it is because it is cheaper to just build new shit than it is to ship it home.
Sure.
That's why we leave it.
And the focus is on, and the focus is always on getting our people out,
right?
Not on bringing machines back. So if it wasn't just the financial cost, it was the cost in blood.
Go ahead.
But also, correct me if I'm wrong. We also break equipment that has top secret information in it, like any kind of crypto tech and stuff like that. So anything that has
Things
important
like that will get brought
information, right? And if they can't, it gets broken down. I mean, I can't tell you how many stories I've heard about from friends and my ex-husband where they take equipment and they have to break it down because of the top secret information on there. I don't recall what it was, but there was an airplane that we lost at one point in time, and we had to change how we communicated because we couldn't break down the top secret information that was in there. So that's the other thing these people seem to forget. And, you know, like you said, Matt, this can be replaced. Our service members and their lives will never, ever, ever be fucking replaced. They can't be replaced.
Yeah.
Well, most people don't understand that, like, when we talk about replacing a person, so like Matt, you retired from the Marine Corps. How long would it take the Marine Corps to replace you? Like your expertise, the time, the training, just the investment the Marine Corps made in you. How many years would it take for someone to be able to replace you and do well?
Well, I mean, I got to just break down like how the training went, right? So
beard aside.
Well, I'm allowed to have the beard. I did have a banging fucking mustache though. So
of course you did. I believe it. I believe it.
So obviously, when you're in the Marines, you do 12 weeks at Parris Island or San Diego for your boot camp, your basic training. And then you'd go to, if you're in the infantry, you go to another 12 weeks of the School of Infantry. If you're not in the infantry, you go to 6 weeks or 3 weeks, I think, of Marine combat training. And then you go to your MOS school, which could be up to another 16 months or whatnot, depending on what your job is. So right there, before you even got to your unit, if you're in the infantry, you've already been in training for 6 months. If you're not in the infantry, you could have been in training in school for up to 1.5 years at that point. And then before you deploy anywhere, you will do, at least in the Marine Corps, when I was in, we did at least 1 year of workup training. So we would do, basic ops around, we would go to different bases for training and whatnot. When I went to Afghanistan, I was a part of a MU. So we would go out and do some like open sea training and whatnot on the ships and whatnot and float down to different bases so you're talking by the time that I got to Afghanistan, I had already been in training and learning things and preparing for that deployment for about 2 years by the time I actually got there.
See, and you were infantry, but replace the Captain Navis, who's the gravestone, in this picture, but they are not focusing on.
Right.
He was a raider.
Right.
So what would that take? Like 10 years to replace him?
Well, yeah, he was a captain, so he would have at least been in the Marine Corps. I don't know much about his service. If he was straight officer, then he would have been in the Marine Corps for at least 5 years at that point. If he was a freshly made captain in the Marine Corps. But yeah, so I mean, you're talking 5 or 6 years at least.
And that's why I say, like, the loss of lives it's devastating because of the fact that, our service members have very specialized experience to such an extent that when many of them get out of the military, defense companies headhunt them that they can, because they still need those skills. Sure. They just need it in a support fashion, because it is so specialized. Like in my husband's entire career field, There are fewer people in the military that do what my husband did in the Air Force than there are Navy SEALs, than there are pararescue jumpers. I mean, like, it is that small of a group of people. So when my husband retired from active duty, they came calling 10 years ahead of time. Hey, keep us in mind. 5 years out. Hey, what are you thinking about? 2 years out. Hey, have you gotten your resume? Like, do you need my help writing it up? Like, they come calling because they need that expertise so much. And then when they finally are done with the military, they're like, have you thought about where you're going to work now? Because don't you still have an active clearance? Great. We need your skills because it is so specialized.
Well, even just outside of the training, there's also like a huge monetary aspect that people don't think about either, like the costs. And even, I don't remember the exact figure, but when I was going through infantry OSET, I was on the 6 month cycle. So the Army had recently, within the last couple of years, implemented the new longer training. I think they were telling us that it costs somewhere around like $100,000 per soldier to train us, and that's not even like counting our paychecks afterwards, right? That's just for those 6 months to get us trained, to get us uniforms, fed. I don't know what else really goes into that. But I mean that, $100,000 per soldier, and that's a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that anybody would like to add to this? Again, I think for those of you, the 2,300 people in here, I think you should all consider yourself grateful for listening to these people who served their country honorably and are angry, rightfully so. For those of us in particular who haven't served, I know how angry it makes me. I can only imagine how you all feel. And I'm going to, again, echo the sentiments that Kristen shared and reaffirmed by Olive and Political Mom and USMC, Declan, for you, for what you did and what you went through. So, again, thank you for your service. And I want to give everybody else a chance. If there's anything else you would all like to add to this conversation, or any cautionary tales or whatever else might be on your mind.
Oh, everyone's
all
go.
first.
We're all like, yes, all of us have something.
So I want to remind people, tomorrow is Friday. And one of the things I grew up doing as a kid, and even into my adulthood, is we wear red on Friday. Red stands for Remember Everybody Deployed. Tomorrow, if you have a red shirt, if you have a red lipstick, if you have something red, a red shoe, wear red tomorrow. And join in on with me. I wear red every Friday because I remember those who are deployed. I remember that husband that's gone. I remember that mom that's gone. I remember being that child and not knowing when I could know when my dad would come home or if he would come home, when my brother was gone, when my ex-husband was gone. Wear red on Friday to stand in solidarity of what happened and think about not even just the veterans. And this is something I'm treading very lightly because I don't want to make Matt or Declan upset. But as family members of these service members, think about them right now. Think about the widows.
Oh, 100%.
That are going through this.
Mm-hmm.
So
thank you, Olive. Anybody else?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of vets and the comments on this panel and in other panels saying, "Oh, like I support Trump." This guy supports Harris. He's a vet. He's not actually a vet. Like he's faking. Okay. I just want you to remember what party tried blocking the PACT Act. What party has already defunded the VA and wants to continue doing so. I know that he's disavowed it many times, Project 2025, but he's a liar. If you are a vet, look through Project 2025. It's on page like 600 something, I think.
It's chapter 20.
Yeah, it's in their VA section. They use really sneaky language. They say that they want to change the way that people are evaluated going forward, and that they may reevaluate current disability holders. Like that should send off red flags to you. If you are a veteran receiving disability, myself, I'm receiving 80%. Without that 80%, I would be sunk. Like this is all very, very important stuff. And even looking outside of that, just outside of the VA and financial aspect, Trump is a man who has disparaged veterans multiple times. If you look at the comments that was leaked by, who is it, Christopher Miller? If you look at what he said about, how he doesn't want to be in the same picture as a amputee. He says, oh, what's in it for these guys, as he's visiting the grave sites of fallen service members. He called people who got captured suckers and losers, and he said the only reason that John McCain is a war hero is because he was a POW. Like, this should be this is shameful, right? It's unbecoming of a commander-in-chief, and if you are a vet and voting for Trump, I beg you, do some introspection.
Thank you, Declan. Matt, Kristen?
I mean, everything Declan said. I don't think I could say anything better than that. That was it.
Thank you.
The first time I ever met a Gold Star family, I was in my mid-20s. I went to a brunch, and I was warned when I arrived there was going to be a Gold Star widow coming in, and she came not too long later, and she was beautiful and brave and so smart and funny. Just blew me out of the water because she was such an amazing person. And then I met her son, this little, tiny blonde-haired boy running around, laughing at everything, playing soldier and telling everybody that he was going to be a Marine because he was so proud of his namesake, of his father, who he never met, because his father was taken out by a sniper on the day that boy was born. And I've held a Gold Star mother in my arms and thanked her repeatedly because her son earned the Navy Cross losing his life when he saved my mother's life. Our Gold Star families are not vile. They are not shills.
Yep.
And Jordan Herder and Jonathan Yale, the two Marines who saved my mother, are not suckers and they are not losers. Every single one of our Gold Star families, they are amazing and they are the bravest people you will ever know.
Yes.
And those who have lost their lives are our fallen heroes. Our wounded, they are wounded because they were heroic and they chose to serve. Our veterans that you meet, they have scars you will never see. You will never be there in the middle of the night with them when the nightmares come. When my husband has a nightmare in the middle of the night, it's because if he cannot physically touch my bare skin, he panics. And then he gets out of bed and he walks to the other side to look at me to make sure that I'm actually there and I'm okay. Then he goes and he checks on our animals. He checks every window and every door in our house to make sure that it is secure. He checks on our daughter and then he comes back to bed before he can go to sleep. That is what PTSD does. Every single night, he has to know that we're safe and we're okay and our location is secured. And you will never understand what our veterans go through, what our service members go through. If you allow anyone to dishonor them in your presence, then you are dishonoring them. Calling the withdrawal from Afghanistan a disaster, it does not shame the politicians you want to focus on. It shames the service members like Declan, who put their lives on the line and for 13 lost their lives, not to mention the thousands before them. So if you want to honor our service members, do it with your vote in the ballot box. And honor those who are still fighting and will fight tomorrow. Honor them by voting blue. Don't vote for someone who's going to strip them of the benefits and the compensation that they have earned and that they deserve. Vote blue as an act of gratitude from a grateful nation.
So,
Go ahead, Chelsea.
first of all, I can never thank everybody on this panel enough for their service or their sacrifice. I have family members that were in the military, but I don't have direct service that I can understand in that way. And I think that people like me need to sit here and recognize and be aware and do the best we can do for the people that served and the people that are family members of people that served. And I think that, like, from this day forward, I want to do more. I want to learn more. I want to help more. And tomorrow I will be wearing red, okay? Because I didn't know that was a thing. And now I know it's a thing. So every Friday I will be wearing red.
Every Friday.
Every Friday. I didn't know that was a thing. And now I'm going to do it. But I want to thank everybody. Like, this has been very emotional. This has been very informative. And this has been very eye-opening. And I hope that everybody took a moment to understand the gravity of the impact that our vote has on people that we may not even think about.
Well said. Declan, Matt, Kristen, thank you all for being here for this conversation. I know it's got to be, I'll leave it right there. Thank you all very much for being here. Matt, are you going live later?
Actually, I'm getting ready to hop off here and get myself prepared. I'll be going live here in about an hour. So
okay, we'll be sure to raid you.
I'll be there, Matt.
Awesome. Appreciate you all.
Kristen, thank you very much for being here. It's been an honor to get to know you, and I really respect your passion. And Declan, again, to echo everybody's sentiments, thank you for your bravery, and thank you for your sacrifices, and thank you for what you do. Thank you all. I'm honored that you've been here for this. Thank you all very much.
Thanks for having us all.
Appreciate it.
You got it. Talk to you soon.
I think Nemo's in the queue if you want to bring him up.
Nemo's gonna yell at me.
Yeah. I'm really hopeful that be careful how I say this. I think the perspective that was shared by everyone here, I think just gets overlooked. And I'm really glad you said what you said, Chelsea, about how it's one thing to have a place for people to speak. It's one thing for a place for people to have an opportunity to share their stories and to feel their passion in the whole 9 yards. But it's not enough, right? It's certainly not enough. It's certainly not enough.
We have to do more. And like I criticize myself for not doing more. Like I've volunteered at shelters, I've helped with VA, but like I could do more. And like this made me realize that I could do more, especially because I love children and I would love to do things for children who have to go through that, like without parents and or have lost them. So I'll reach out to Olive if you want. I'll give you my number.
I have multiple different things. April is the month of the military child. We wear purple all month. That's my month. That's other military brats months. And there's great resources. Operation Purple Heart for veterans specifically. You've got Military One Source. There's Stop Soldier Unaliving. That's a charity I actually work with through my whole birthday month. Everything I receive from TikTok or anything like that goes directly to them. April, I did the same thing with Operation Purple Heart. And with the power of TikTok and fundraising, I was able to fundraise over $2,500 for Operation Purple Camp for these kids to go and be with other kids who go through the same thing. There's Yellow Ribbon Project as well. There's multiple resources out there, and I have a couple of them in my link tree. So, I mean, there's ways you can get involved and listen. So.
Well, again, I appreciate that. I think we're all going to wear hashtag Red Fridays.
Red Fridays.
Right. Everybody, I think we're going to continue some conversations. I think really appreciate everybody being here and hanging through that conversation. I think it was necessary to have. So again, the question that we're asking, if there's anybody that still supports Trump in the chat after what we just heard from the veterans that have been, tokenized quite literally, and the description of what Section 60 is in Arlington. It's an active burial site for people post 9/11, primarily Afghanistan, Iraq, and others, and how the people who were literally boots on the ground. Declan, again, if you're out there, Declan, thank you again for your service and your bravery. Literally describing the impact of what happened that day and the heroic things done, and how unbelievably brave and heroic all involved were, and the errors and the arrogance and the dishonesty and the lies by the Trump administration, and using people who lost their lives that day as a campaign ad. And if you still support, we would like to talk to you.
And I want to mention something. So all the gifts that I get from this month and next month until November will go to a victim's family of the Uvalde shooting. So I just want to put that out there.
Thank you, Chelsea, for that. I always appreciate your heart being in the right place. All right. I think I want to bring up Jay, because Jay said that he is former military, and you have perhaps a different perspective. Hi, Jay. I think you said in the comments you have perhaps a different perspective as to why people who still claim to support veterans and vote for Trump. Did I miss that?
No, that's accurate. And I did want to come up, and I just want to let you know I wasn't trying to be disrespectful earlier in the comments when I first came on. Listening to the military stuff was very challenging for myself. But at the same time, I do feel like sometimes I have a hard time connecting with the Democrat Party. And that's why it's always been me to vote for Republican no matter what, because I just don't have that connection with Democrats when they want to like seem like turn a blind eye. Like when we were talking about the border, for instance, earlier, I'm not saying that they don't recognize it's an issue, but I think sometimes it's just like for years, everybody was saying there was an issue at the border and then no one addressed it or they didn't bring it to the public side to be able to notice. But that's
No, I don't agree with that.
I mean, I don't agree with that
I
as
don't agree with that
somebody that.
sentiment. Let's go back to what you said. You had a different perspective on people why they vote the way that they do. I'm curious.
Yeah.
So are you a Trump supporter?
I did. I voted for Trump in 2016 and then again in 2020. And this time, though, however, I'm going to have to change my vote. And the reason for that is doing my own research. I did not realize at the time with the LGBTQ plus community in the military, I actually was part of the individuals that joined the military that was discharged for being homosexual. So back in the early 90s, the happiest day of my life was in 92 in February. I was able to enlist and enroll into the military, which is something I wanted from a young child. It was very hard for me to hear about all these veterans speaking because that's all I ever wanted to be was serve our country and be a veteran of the United States. That was my reason for living. The saddest day of my life was when I was discharged in November of 93 to only being able to serve for 1 year and 9 months. That was before the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy took place with Clinton when he came in office. So unfortunately, I'm not considered a veteran of the United States, even though I served in the United States Air Force in 92 to 93 and served during Desert Shield, Desert Storm. However, with that said, watching lives like this, was unaware of Trump's stance on the LGBTQ plus community and the military. And when I started doing my research, I realized that he completely attacked that group and my group specifically. And it just really showed me that you have to have more of an open mind when it comes to things like that, because you have to look out for what others' interests may be as opposed to just your own. And that would be the reason for my changing the vote, because I do think Trump gets a lot of negative criticism on areas that he maybe shouldn't, but at the same time, a lot of it is well-deserved because he can't, control his verbiage. He can't control what he says. And that's not very good when you're wanting to become the president of the United States. So with that said, I'm a little bit emotional right now because it is hard for me to talk about the past in the military when I loved it so much.
Sure.
But this is for those individuals out there that maybe want to participate in the military, that are from my community, that want to have a better life for themselves and serve this country. I don't think anyone should not have the right, whether you're trans, whether you're gay, lesbian, straight. I think if you want to serve this country honorably, you should be allowed and afforded that right. And
respected in doing so.
And respected in doing so. And I just do not think that the Trump-Vance ticket is the way to go when it comes to those particular subjects or interests. So that's the reason for my changing. And I just wanted to put that out there for other people that maybe, don't look at that as a, reason to vote for Harris. But I do think she is the type of person that will allow everyone, and I see nothing from her but unity. I see her wanting to bring everybody together. I see her wanting to unite the country and not just look out for one or particular instance, certain individuals in this country. She's looking out for everybody and their own rights and interests. So,
Jay,
on
thank you
behalf
for
of
that.
everybody in the chat and in this panel, thank you for your service. Even though you didn't get to serve the way you wanted to, you did serve.
I did. I appreciate that. I'm not listed as a veteran, but at the same time, that's okay because I'm glad that there's individuals like myself that are in there now that can. So it's good to see change and people, change laws and have a difference of opinion because I won't ever be able to benefit from the military. But at the same time, it was never about my benefits. It was more of I just love to serve this country. And I wasn't even able to afford that and do that for this country. But it just really saddens me back to think about it from the past. But in the future, I hope that there are young individuals that want to still sign up and be able to, that may be part of my community.
Thank you, Jay. Again, thank you for your service and thank you for speaking up. I appreciate that. And thank you for your vote for Kamala Harris. We appreciate that, brother. Thanks a lot.
No problem. I'll be gone.
Okay. Everybody, please continue to tap and share. We're nearly 2K. We should be well over 400K by now. We really appreciate that. Please continue to gift our panelists, Olive, and every coin that you donate to Political Mom will go to support a family in Uvalde, Texas, who's been sadly impacted horribly by gun violence in America. Everybody, again, if you'd like to support the channel in a variety of ways, gifting gold, please subscribe as we're marching towards 200 followers. Please join our, 200 subscribers. We're going to do a subscribers only event. We've got some pretty cool swag we've got from the DNC. We're going to use that as part of our bingo that we're going to have during the debate. And also, if you could join our Discord, we'd really appreciate that. While you're over in the link tree, check out the watch party link that will give you an official watch party invite to the debate. That looks like it's scheduled for September 10th, although there's still 15 days or so until then. Lots of time for a coward to back out.
I can't believe we're so close to September already. That's what's
tell me about
crazy to me.
My anxiety
Tell
is
me
picking
about it.
up.
Oh God, yeah.
All right, I'm just going to start bringing some folks up. I'd appreciate y'all just continue to engage with the live, and we'll continue to have more conversations. Thank you all for being here. We know you have choices.
Tap the screen, share the live, be kind and be nice.
Sean, it looks like you might have timed out, Sean. It's okay. We'll find somebody else. If you're friendly, if you wouldn't mind dropping out for just a bit, those of you who I know, you can stick, but generally speaking. Mama Sunshine, how are you?
Good morning.
Who are you planning on voting for, Mama?
I'm voting for Kamala.
Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds or so if you want to talk about something that's important to you.
Well, I was coming up for a different reason. I just recently lost my husband.
I'm so sorry.
Who was a Vietnam veteran, and also my roommate and 4 friends, all in 12 days. So I've been hit pretty hard. And I fought for him to get in when Obama had released the red tape for him to get benefits, and they gave him 70%. And I fought really hard to get him back in there and got him rated at 100%. But then when the Cheeto was in there, because he did respite with me to take care of our special needs grandchildren, they reduced his unemployability back to 70. And so because I'm a widow, I only get a percentage. And so that percentage went way down. And to hear about how, like, PTSD, I can't tell you how many nights, if it weren't for me, how somebody might have gotten hurt. And he used to always tell people that I was the reason why other people were still alive, because I didn't turn my back on him. And I remember when he was going into the VA, and they asked me why hadn't I left him, because he had grabbed me one night in his sleep. And I said, because I will never leave him like the rest of you fuckers did. And so I know that feeling of watching him run around and checking doors and windows, or his night sweats, or his rage. And he did not want to be buried in Arlington, and that would be the reason why, that photo, because he didn't want to be disrespected. And he also felt like he didn't deserve it, even though he was a combat veteran and he was special forces, but he just didn't feel like he earned enough to be there. But he felt like that there was a lot of disrespect, and he didn't want to be a part of that. I'm struggling financially in ways I can't even begin to explain. I have a GoFundMe and in my link tree, and people just don't seem to care. I got bills due today, and I don't even know how I'm going to pay them. And I just checked the bank, and it doesn't even show that his funds are being released. So I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to call the VSO.
Mama,
if that fund doesn't come out, I can't pay the mortgage.
In the link tree, you'll go to the link tree that's in my bio, and if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a button that says Facts for Help. What that is, it's kind of a community. It's an email. We'll just open up an email dialogue box. It will come directly to me. If you would mind just kind of telling a little bit more about your story in that email. And our community has done many, many things for lots of people. And if we can help, we'll try our best. Okay. So that would be my suggestion to you. If you're willing to, like I said, it just comes to me, and then I will share it internally with our community. But we've been able to help some folks out in the past. So if that's something you're interested in, like I said, it's in the link tree. It's in my bio. You scroll down a little bit, you'll see it says Facts for Help. Okay.
And if you wanna follow me onto Matt's live, I'm gonna bring you up so that you can tell this story, so that we can get it out there, so that we can try to help as a community on here.
I also have resources in my link tree as well that help a lot of Gold Star widows and stuff like that, and widows in general. So if you need anything, you can always reach out to me as well.
And we are sorry for your loss, and we're gonna do the best we can to help you.
We see you.
Thank you. It's just frustrating because I feel like, everybody is saying, thoughts and prayers. And I'm like, but bill collectors don't take thoughts and prayers. I've tried. I don't want to lose my home, the home that we shared. It's hard enough that I'm sitting in the space that we would enjoy watching you. Facts. We would watch you together, and I would reach over and touch his hand, and he's not sitting here now. I can't touch him now. I don't have him anymore. And then I lost my roommate at 12 days. It's like, and now my grandson is sick. He's got a heart condition and he's only 15. He's just diagnosed with Marfan syndrome and autism all in 1 week. He's got scoliosis. My other 2 grandkids that I've been taking care of also have autism, and one of them has a blood condition that anything could land her in the hospital. My daughter has asthma, chronic asthma, and I've almost lost her so many times. We lost our daughter last year to cancer. I lost my service dog and his service dog last year. Like, it's just, I'm dying over here. I can't take it anymore, and I've reached the point of, like, I think I'm depressed because I can't figure out what to do anymore. I've called everyone. I've filled out all the paperwork. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I'm jumping through the hoops, but nobody cares.
Well, we care.
I'm sorry. I'm emotional today. I'm
No,
sorry.
don't
Listening
ever
to you
Don't
guys.
ever apologize for this. We
Do
care.
not ever apologize.
Please don't think that nobody cares. We absolutely care here. We want to help you. And I followed you back, and I'm going to reach out to you after this live, and I'm going to do the best I can.
And again, Mama, as just to want to reiterate what Olive and Political Mom just said, that we care. There are people that care. The hardest part sometimes is asking for help. We've all been in positions in our life where we have to ask, and you're asking.
I hate asking. I absolutely hate it. I am such a proud, I've been a proud mom, and I've been a single mom and a proud wife, and I've never asked anybody for anything because I grew up waiting for people to help me, and oh yeah, I'll come and help you, I'll come do these things, and they never showed up. So I learned to just do it my damn self. And so for me to have to ask anybody for financial help just kills me. It just kills me. I can't. I think that's what's making my depression worse, is that I'm having to like sit up on TikTok and I do ASMR, and I can't get like even my goals met. No one rates me, like, everybody's like, oh, you're underrated. Well, I'm underrated because you're not helping, or, like, I'm frustrated. I don't want to sound ungrateful and sound like an ass, but sometimes I just get so damn mad.
Mama, that link the link tree you have is for your GoFundMe that you were speaking of, and then you do have your Cash App and your Venmo in your bio, right? Because there was someone asking to directly send it to you because TikTok takes a cut, unfortunately. So there is. Okay.
They do.
So I know Bob
But
sent a message in there.
all my stuff is in my bio, and I
It's in her
finally
bio.
got the GoFundMe attached to my link tree, which took me like a couple months.
That's okay. But no, I just want to make sure.
I'm hoping
that's
it's
all.
still working.
Yeah. Well, you're good. Again, don't apologize, and I think you've already accomplished the hardest part, which is the first step in asking for help, right? So I think
It's okay.
I think you've seen just from the love, just in the short time that you've been here, we see you, and please take up Political Mom on her offer about following her to USMC Matt's live. He'll go live, and I think he
I'll
said
bring you
around
up.
Yeah,
11:30 or
I'm already
around there.
following
So
USMC, and I
okay.
think he already followed me back a couple months ago. But I'm sorry, it was just the fact that I was listening to. I don't remember who was speaking because I have poor eyesight now.
Don't we all?
But hearing about the PTSD and
We got you.
I have my
We
cheaters on, and I still can't see. Like I'm going blind.
Yeah,
We got
please
you,
fall off
Mama.
my face. I can't see shit.
We got you, Mama. That's all you need to know. We got you. You don't have to feel ashamed for asking for help. We got you.
And I wanna say thank you and welcome home to all the veterans who made it home, whether you were just cleaning a latrine or if you were driving a tank. If you made it home, welcome home. And for those who didn't, my heart is with the families. And I never thought I would lose the one person who really made me happy. I never thought this would happen. I never thought I'd be a widow. This never dawned on me that this shit could happen. And we had a life insurance policy, but we went into some financial problems and it lapsed. So there was nothing to be left. I have nothing. I just barely have the house and I might lose it. I can't do this alone.
What state are you in? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm sorry?
What state are you in, if you don't mind me asking?
Wisconsin.
So if anybody's
I'm
in
in the Red
Wisconsin, it can
Sea.
help.
I'm in the Red Sea.
Well, you're surrounded by love. Doesn't matter the color. So again, Mama, we got you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for reaching out. And please, you're on our radar. We're mutuals. I think we've spoken before. And just as a reminder,
I've sent
there's
you a
lots
few things.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, there's resources, and we'll figure this out for you. Okay, you got a community behind you, and we got you. Okay.
I'm gonna drop down, but follow me into Matt's live. I'll pull you up on the panel.
Okay. Thank you for having me up here, and I'm sorry I broke down. I was trying to stop crying before you pulled me up.
Don't apologize. I love you
not
guys.
apologize.
Okay. Thanks, Chelsea.
I love you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone,
Mama.
for the gifts. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And we'll be in touch. Okay. And like I said, take me up on my offer. Send me an email when you get a chance to get over there. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama.
Wow.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
All right. I want to bring up Obi for a second. I need to take just a little break. You guys can chat for a brief, and I'll be right back. So don't mean to bail. I'll be right back.
You're good.
Hi, Obi.
Hey.
Howdy.
I'm gonna try to be calmer than I was yesterday.
You weren't calm yesterday?
Oh, you missed it?
I was probably at work.
I lit into somebody fairly hard. But it was cathartic. It felt good. I think, listening to Mama reminds me that there is one political party that continues to do nothing for veterans, nothing for persons who have, I don't know if we're supposed to say disabilities or not anymore. That one still confuses me, but that can't necessarily function on their own without resources and help.
Yeah.
And what happened yesterday at Arlington is a prime example of why you shouldn't support the Republican Party. The level of disrespect that continues to come out of the GOP is obnoxious. And they have stolen the narrative of patriotism. They have stolen the narrative that they are the only ones that can solve problems. They've stolen the narrative that only they care about veterans. I was a Republican. And then as I slowly transitioned from a military mindset to a mindset of a guy at a university surrounded by people who were much younger than myself, I started to see that there was a big difference between what was being said in rhetoric and what was being done in action, right? And I think if you listened to Mama's story, the key takeaway, obviously, she needs help. That's a no-brainer. There's enough people here to help, right?
Right.
It's just that veterans are consistently treated as second-class citizens. We constantly have to fight for benefits. Now, here's what doesn't make sense to me. You spend all of this money training an individual human being so that they can be a part of the war machine, right? Because ultimately, that's the goal, is to make sure that everyone has a specific skill set and that they're constantly honing and training that skill set, right? Like capitalism, without consumers, capitalism dies. Well, in the military, if there's no one that decides to raise their hand, the military goes away, right? So it would behoove the government and political parties to stop using us as pawns, to stop using us as photo opportunities. The fact that Trump literally now has used video and photos of yesterday's events to promote a political campaign on sacred ground, if you don't understand the level of disrespect, right? And those families that are there, that are smiling and happy, I get it. I also was deluded in thinking that Republicans cared about us. But what they may not see is that they're being used. Because as soon as they reach out to Trump's campaign for help, if they need any help, there will be no help there. Right?
Well,
it's like the January 6th gala. We all know what that's for. That's so that Trump can raise money for himself. Right?
Yeah.
What I find amazing is the amount of persons in the Republican Party who actually have served in the military, although that percentage is pretty damn small, right?
Right.
And they stand up on this soapbox of, oh, you need to vote for us because we care. Well, you know, I've studied this for a very long time because I work at the Veterans Court and I need to understand how benefits work and I need to understand what resources are available.
Right.
There is zero data that shows that the Republican Party in any substantive way since World War II has ever passed legislation to consistently help the veteran community,
Right.
or by extension, our families, right? And
Before you, I want to
so
hear
what
from you.
I-
Let me just
yeah.
play the disclaimer real quick. Let me take care of that.
Sure,
I
go
just wanna
ahead.
Make sure that we're still.
We
up
like
here.
Chris's voice.
We do. We love Chris's voice.
TikTok. It is our intention during these live broadcasts to only provide fact-based information to the absolute best of our ability. We strive to never spread misinformation or to platform those that do. Opinions of our guest or commenters are theirs and theirs alone and do not reflect those of the host. Hate speech is not allowed, and we are diligent about policing it. This platform is for educational purposes only. We now return you to our regularly scheduled pandemonium, already in progress.
And to your point, Obi, you know, we to be sincere and to be fair, I mean, it shouldn't be, should be party agnostic when we criticize any politician or anyone who
That's right.
uses veterans as tokens, right? I just think in the day and age that we are in now, it just seems to be the right and the Republican Party in general has hijacked the word patriotism, has
Yep.
hijacked the words, you know, we support vets. And that's the disturbing part. You know, a former president of the United States literally tokenizing, you know, memorials to
But
gain favor.
that's the thing, though. It's not like he hasn't been there before. He knows. That's the thing that makes me more frustrated. I mean, as soon as I saw that come out, Nikki sent me the article. And the first thing I did is I sat there and I screamed because I've been to Arlington on multiple different occasions. And as I've gone to Arlington, without fail, I have always sat there and thought about the fact that one of those graves could have been my dad's. And the fact that there are people who have sacrificed that, the fact that there are them themselves signed their lives on the dotted line and knew what they were going to do, that it could end up with them being unalived, yet they still did it. There were wives that got into this and knew what their husbands were doing, but still stood behind them. There were kids who had no choices to do, and they lived in this lifestyle. This is something that I will never, ever understand. I had the opportunity when we went to DC in eighth grade, and I got to lay down the wreath. And I can't tell you from that day forward, I have never, ever, ever felt more honored because even the story behind the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, even the story behind Arlington in general, if you sit and you listen and you comprehend and you put yourself in those shoes just for 5 minutes, just for 5 fucking minutes, you can understand the frustration and the anger that these families are feeling. That's the biggest thing that I thought of. Not even the fact that they're using as political pawns, because I talked to my dad about this, and he's like, "I'm used to it," and I'm like, "That's not how it should be. No one should be used to it." And when it's even coming in on our side per se, call them out. Call out the tokenization of our service members, their families, their sacrifices, and the times that they have taken it's just
I agree. I call just in general, whatever the topic. Just just truth to power. That's the goal. Nikki, thanks for being here. I know you wanted to do some mod announcements.
I did. Number one, we're at 416,000. If you guys can just keep tapping and power tap while I'm up here, let's see how high we can get. We'd love to get over 500. The bottom right-hand corner, you'll see an arrow. Hit that arrow and you can send it to 5 friends, 5 enemies, whatever you want. If you actually have more than that, you can hold on to Steve's nose right there and a menu will pop up and you will have 50 people that you can send it to. You can just click all the way down and it'll send it to everybody there. If you don't have anybody that you want to send it to, if you can actually please send it or click copy link, that actually does send it, or that does count as a share. Thank you very much. Sorry, my words are not working this morning. You can, it looks like you have to redo your subscriber goal. It looks like we hit our subscriber goal for today. That's great. Our subscribers, we're going to be planning some subscriber events. So if you guys want to do that, we'd be excited to have you guys join us. If you go over into Steve's link tree, and Gregory also, there are links for our God, words are hard today. There's links for the Discord. You can join the Discord. You do not have to be a subscriber to join the Discord. We enjoy having a lot of people. We share information, everything like that. You're more than welcome to come over and do that. All of those links. If the links are not working, please just get one of us mods and we can get it information to you. Also in the link tree is a link for the watch party. We are an official watch party for the DNC. So we have been given the watch party for the debate, which is on the 10th. Tuesday night. Hopefully everybody shows up. If he doesn't, then what it's going to be is an interview or a town hall. So either way, we will be streaming that. You can go and click there and just RSVP and you'll get an email that day telling you what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Please check your voters registration like every day, every other day, especially in states like mine, which is Georgia, Texas, Florida. It's vote.org. Please go and check your voter registration. They are dropping people from there. Friendlies, if you're in the queue, please drop out of the queue for right now. If we have time at the end, we will bring some up. We know that this is a really sensitive topic and we would really like to just get some people that don't agree so we can figure out the difference. I'm not a veteran. My grandfather taught me my pride in my country. And what I will say is that when we used to go to Arlington National Cemetery when I lived on the East Coast or up on the East Coast, it's a sacred place to go. It's quiet. You could hear a pin drop in that place. And there's a reason for that. But if none of you want to say that he disrespected the veterans, what I will tell you is look at that picture. If anybody how many people do you know will take a picture behind a grave of a soldier smiling with your thumb up? That in itself is disrespect.
Thank you, Nikki.
Anthony, I love you. Thank you for your service. Anybody else in the comments that has served or has their family served, thank you very much for your service. I appreciate you all very much. And come join the Discord. Oh, click the heart on the top too, by the way. I forgot. Thank you very much, whoever just did that. It joins the team and it actually just boosts the live out also. Thank you guys so much. Keep tapping. Let's get to 500,000. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Okay.
Hey, before I drop down so you can bring somebody else up,
Sure.
I want to thank you for letting me rip yesterday.
Yeah, bro.
It was rather cathartic, and Olive missed it. So
I did miss it. I was at work, unfortunately.
Yeah, the winds are still blowing. The winds are still blowing from yesterday.
I wanna thank Uncle Rusty. He called me immediately after I stepped down just to check in, and I think that's what you've created here is this family, right? And so please keep doing what you're doing. Please keep having young folk come up on this panel. Influencers, yes. All hail the Queen Olive. Anyway, I love you, my brother.
You too, bud. We talk this weekend, okay?
And yeah, for sure. Okay.
Gotcha,
Peace
buddy.
and love,
Love
folks.
you, man. Pia.
Love you, Obi.
Granite, thanks for being here. Thank you for your patience. What's on your mind?
I'm glad everybody was talking about yesterday. I was watching you yesterday, and I watch you pretty much every day to get the opposing sides, opinions, and because I am a Trump supporter. I learned something yesterday that kind of changed my point of view. You had somebody on there talking about service members who didn't take the COVID shot and were expelled from the military. And I thought his explanation was pretty good, where he said, listen, if you're going to join, you're taking on that responsibility. You're called a GI, which is government issued. So if the government says you have to take that shot, then you should take the shot. And I agreed with it. I thought it was great.
Not
Secondly, I
even
just want to tell you that even as a Trump
sorry.
supporter, that last woman that you had on, I saved her number. I will Venmo her today. It's a heartbreaking story, what she went through. Okay. But there's something that I didn't agree with what you said yesterday. Yesterday, you had another person on and you threw him out because he said the phrase colored people. You remember that?
I do, and that was not how he said it, though.
Yeah, he did. He said colored people.
But
So
that's
my
not
question
how
to you
but
is,
that's not how he said it, Granite.
how did he say it?
He
In your
said
opinion?
the colored people.
Right. So the colored people. So if he would have
again,
said,
friend, so Granite, you have to understand, friend. You have to understand as we've evolved as a society, this is an opportunity for you to try to learn something, okay? As we've
learned yesterday,
evolved,
so-
excuse me, if we've evolved as a society, there are certain things that we just do not say anymore. We just
Okay.
do not say them. It's
Okay,
just
so let
not
me-
acceptable speech.
okay, so what if he said people of color?
People of color would be fine.
That's different. You,
So
you
then
gotta
why is
understand.
it?
What is BIPOC? You know what BIPOC stands for?
No.
Black Indigenous Persons of Color.
Okay. So let me ask you a question then, which I didn't agree with. He said the phrase colored people in the context that he was talking about a group of people. That's what the conversation was about, the colored people. And you got upset. But if he would have said
No,
the
it's
people
not
of
that I got
color,
upset, friend. It's not that I got upset, friend. It's just that it's unacceptable speech. You just don't
okay,
say
but
things
if he
like
said, but if he would have said people of color, you would have said okay.
Correct.
That's a
So
better
then why is
terminology.
it, so my question is, why is it that just because he said the colored people and not,
I'm done.
Because it's the terminology.
I'm done.
Fucking fuckers.
Yep. Don't come back.
Oh God.
Okay. Good morning, Strupp. How are you? Strupp, good morning. Strupp, good morning. Strupp going once. Strupp going twice. Strupp, good morning. Do you want to have a
Hello?
conversation today, Strupp?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
1 second here. Sorry, I was running to get my headphones.
Okay.
I'm out of breath.
So, thank you for being here. What is on your mind? I just have to change microphone setup. Everybody bear with me, but go ahead. You can tell us what's on your mind, Strupp.
Yes, please. Yes, what's on my mind is, it's funny how Erica's in here. I had a debate with Erica before. But yeah, I'm currently voting for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And, I was here when Mama came on here, and I actually DM'd her personally. I was like, I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm willing to help, and to support you, and put politics aside, obviously. And I think we can all agree on that.
That's the biggest thing. 100%.
Just want to put that out there before we get into it, because no one should have to go through any of that. And I heard what that one guy said. He was like, Republicans don't want to help. And I actually don't think that's true. I think Republicans do want to help.
No.
And I think when Trump was president for 4 years, you've seen our border wall and illegal immigration was better. You've seen your taxes.
Hey, Strupp, let's take them one at a time. Okay, we're going to take them one at a time. We're not going to do the Strupp monologue. Okay, we're going to do one at a time. Sure. So when you say immigration was better, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So, for example, I liked how he built 400 miles of border wall, which I think is good. He built it. Erica,
but he didn't, though.
He did.
He didn't, Strupp. The facts of that are border wall. I think it was 50 miles of new wall or something like that, and then the rest.
It was 80 miles of new wall, and the rest was repairs to existing fences or barriers that were already there.
I'm pretty sure it was 400 miles of border wall.
I'll go and get you a source. Bear with me.
You can give me a source, but I looked at my source, and it said 400 miles of border wall.
What's your source then, Strupp?
Well, then you're going to debunk me, but that's fine. I looked at.
Well, that's how fact checking works, friend.
That's fine.
That's what fact checking is.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
So I looked at the WhiteHouse.com.
The TrumpWhiteHouse.gov?
Yes, I did.
Of course. So do you understand that when it's a Trump and every administration has their own webpage and they can put out whatever they want.
I understand that. And I think you guys are making, you guys having that picture behind you, it's just misinformation. It really is.
What? Okay, wait. So what's misinformation about this?
So first off, the girl next to you is doing also a hand gesture. He's just taking a picture with the family.
Right, and guess what?
Why wasn't Biden there? Where was Kamala Harris? Why weren't they there?
Hey, Strupp, listen, you know why Kamala Harris or Joe Biden wasn't there?
Because vacation?
No, do you know why they weren't there?
Why?
Because they didn't violate the law and turn it into a campaign moment.
So
he violated the law.
One person on the Trump campaign, apparently, I looked into it, was rude.
Stop talking. Stop talking. He broke the law, man.
How did he break the law?
Because he violated the rules. They were given the rules regarding Section 60 in the cemetery. I can read it to you if you want. Are you interested in learning?
I'm interested in learning. I don't know why you guys are getting so mad at me, but that's okay.
Because you said it's misinformation. It's not misinformation.
It is misinformation. Donald Trump went there to support the veterans, and you guys think he doesn't, which is ridiculous.
But it was a private event that he made political. That's the issue, dude.
The issue is that Kamala Harris won't show up to those.
Oh my God! Dude,
Hang on. Can I know the details of this. Trump was.
Hang on 1 second, Erica. Hang on 1 second. Okay. So I'm going to read you the law, Strupp. Federal law prohibits political campaign or election-related activities within Army, national, military cemeteries to include photographers, content creators, or any other persons attending for purposes or in direct support of a partisan political candidate's campaign. He put out a campaign ad with this picture as video. It's a violation of federal law. How is that misinformation?
Because Donald Trump was there to support the veterans, and I think it's just blown out of proportion by the Democratic Party.
How is this misinformation based on what I just read you?
Well, I think he was there to support the veterans and to
How is this misinformation? How is this misinformation based on what I just read you?
I just told you what I think.
Federal law prohibits political campaign or election-related activities within Army, national, military cemeteries to include photographers, content creators, or any other persons attending for purposes or in direct support of a partisan political candidate's campaign. He turned it into a campaign ad. How, again, is that misinformation?
Because he was doing it to show love for the veterans.
Then why did he turn it? Why did he make a campaign ad out of it, Struck?
Like on TikTok, is that what you're saying? The ad?
No,
the TikTok one?
Out. The ad
It's
is
a
out.
campaign ad, bro.
Okay, well, I didn't see the campaign ad personally, but I did see the TikTok of Donald Trump when he was there.
So he put it on TikTok. So what you're saying is he not only made a campaign ad, but he also put it on TikTok.
Yes, there is a TikTok of Donald Trump having it on
What
there.
you're telling us two things then. You're telling us, we already knew he put a campaign ad.
First off, you're not even American, so why are you
But
not?
it doesn't invalidate my points, does it?
You and your bullshit. You're no longer welcome back here. Sorry.
Can you just so that other people know, can you put me on the big screen for a second?
I would be honored.
Thank you. So you can see here, it says the Trump administration say they've completed more than 400 miles of border wall. It's 452 miles in total, according to the CBP. And it says, however, only 80 miles of new barriers have been built where there were none before. That includes 57 miles of primary wall and it was 47 miles of primary wall and 33 miles of secondary wall built to reinforce the initial barrier. So 47 miles of completely new wall as a primary barrier is what was built. 80 miles of new wall in total, but everything else was repairing what was already there.
Can you do me a favor, Erica? Can you just please say secondary again?
Secondary.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Fuck you.
No, I wanted to hear you say it. So Strupp, I wonder when you get the checks from the Koch brothers, because you're obviously a paid chaos agent, because no one could be that dense or ignorant.
The other thing too, though, is the fact that if he sat there and he listened to Mama's story, then the thing behind you, Steve, would have made him even more furious. That's the thing I can't get over. So
exactly, totally agree. All right, if you're friendly, please drop out of the box. We appreciate that. We're going to go until around 12, then we'll raid. You have to do my job. Are you typing just not from State Farm? Jake.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to join.
Okay, no problem. We can drop you down. Thank you.
Can I just point out the reason that I wanted to come up while Struck was here? It is twofold. Number one, I took him for a walk around the park the other day.
Yes, you did.
That's number one, and number two, he spent the whole of the live yesterday in the comment section calling me a socialist, and I wanted him to explain to me exactly how I'm a socialist. But clearly he's gone now. But if you're still in here, Strap, and you'd like to comment on how exactly I'm a socialist, please feel free.
And this isn't the second time you've dog walked him, Erica. You did it in AC's live too. I remember that.
Yeah.
He's pretty easy to dog walk. It's not like, Erica's good at it, but it's not like it would be like it wouldn't be like a Great Dane. It was more like a Chihuahua.
Well, yeah, I know it. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, look, Chihuahuas may be small, but they are fierce.
That is true.
Exactly. Taurus, how are you today?
Okay, how are you?
Doing fine, thank you. Who are you planning on voting for?
Trump.
Can you tell us why, please?
I like his Agenda 47.
So you like locking up houseless people?
So I like locking them up. I like the fact that they're going to probably give them food and shelter. Yes.
Well, that's not what I asked. I asked you if you locked them up. You like that?
That was my answer. My answer was I like the fact that they're going to give them food and shelter.
So you're okay with arresting American citizens just because they're houseless?
Well, I don't know. Where do you live? I live in New York, so I see them on the ground. I just was out in Las Vegas. I saw them dying in the heat on the ground.
That's the question I asked for us. I'm wondering if you're okay with locking up people just because they're houseless in America.
No, I am for them taking them to get a place
Taurus, stop
to
a second.
live
Taurus,
and food and help.
Taurus, stop a second, because Steve keeps asking you direct questions and you keep
And I just answered it. I said, I am for them taking
no,
them
but
off
that's
the
not
streets for help.
No, Taurus, stop a second. Again, that's not answering it. When someone asks you a closed question, like, are you okay with this? There's two answers. There's yes or no. There's not a I'm okay with something else. It's a closed question. It's how English works. Try
Well,
again.
that's my response. My response is if it takes them. I just was out in Las Vegas where it was 112 degrees.
Taurus,
Are you
okay? I'm muting you for a second, Taurus, because you seem to have a hard time understanding that we're trying to have a conversation here. So it's a really simple question. And if you can't answer it, then I don't want to engage with you. The question is, again, I'll ask it. I'll say it slower. Are you okay locking up American citizens just because they are houseless? Please answer that question.
Again, I am for taking them off the streets.
You are okay with arresting them.
Whether he's locking them up, he's not. He's never going to lock them up. We already know that.
So what does arrest mean?
That you're going to take them, they're going to have police remove them from the streets.
Arrest American citizens for being houseless.
They're not going to, he's not going to arrest them.
He is going to arrest them.
He's not going to arrest them.
Really? Okay, let's listen to the audio. Let's listen to his own words.
Ban urban camping wherever possible. Violators of these bans will be arrested, but
yes, violators means if they don't want to be removed from the streets. Nobody should be sleeping.
No. Urban camping. What is urban camping, Taurus?
What is they're moving them to camps so they're not in the streets.
Listen. What is urban camping, Taurus?
Again, they're camps so they don't have them on the streets.
Violating urban camping. Violators will be arrested.
Yes, because they're going back to the streets.
That is
you see people on the streets, they lay in their pits, they sit there with no food, they beg, they sit in 112 or 0 degrees.
Taurus, shut up.
Taurus. No, I don't have to shut up. You asked me a question. I'm answering you honestly.
No, but you're not.
And you don't want to fucking hear it.
And it's annoying.
And the reason why you people don't want to hear things is because you're not living in the streets.
Taurus,
you're not helping
if I
these
were living
people.
in the streets in Trump's America, I'd be arrested.
Maybe it would give you some help and direction, get you off drugs, get you shelter, get you food, get you clothes, get you out of 103.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, Taurus is a voter. Have you checked your voter registration? You can do that at vote.org.
I don't have to.
Do you know where your polling location is? Do you know what the hours are of your polling locations? Have you registered? Are you a mail-in voter? Vote.org, because Taurus votes. Are you comfortable, like Taurus is, with locking up American citizens, denying their due process rights because they're houseless? Because Taurus doesn't give a shit.
Well, obviously, you don't give a shit that these people are laying in their own piss and feces and throw up in the freaking street. Are you?
I do.
Do you care? Then why aren't you homing them in your house?
I have. How many people you put up for shelter?
I have 7 people living in my house.
Right. I'm sure you do, Taurus.
I do.
Can I just explain?
Okay. One of them is a Marine. So don't even go there. You don't know what I do.
Go ahead, Taurus. Go ahead, Erica.
I just want to explain to Taurus what the phrase urban camping refers to. It refers to people living on the streets. That's what urban camping is. Urban camping doesn't refer to people being taken away and put in an area. It refers to people living on the streets. That is what urban camping is. And again, my issue here is being asked a very simple question and instead going on to what you want to say rather than answering the question. And I know why you want to do it. I get it. But when you won't stop talking, the only issue is to mute you or do what I did, which is tell you to shut up.
That's the biggest thing. I mean, it's
here's the thing: we all don't like what Kamala's doing. Don't tell me you like every one of Kamala's policies and how they're set up. It doesn't mean that everyone is going to like every policy of every politician who's running.
Her name is Kamala Torres.
I was
And
gonna say
again, I'm going to
Kamala.
play this again for you, and I'd like you to explain to me when he doesn't says arrest people who are just houseless. I'll try, just listen.
Ban urban camping wherever possible. Violators of these bans will be arrested, but they will be given the option.
So violators will be arrested. So people who are sleeping in the street because they're houseless will be arrested, denying their rights, their due process rights under the law. Do you know that so many people in America are one paycheck away from being houseless? You could be one paycheck away from being houseless. And in your America that you want, Taurus, you could be arrested for sleeping in the street. See, this is the problem with people who live in a cult like you do. You don't give a shit about anybody but yourself.
I have savings and family that if something happened, I could go to.
Good for you. So many people don't. Thank you for speaking to your,
that's why
from your place of
come
privilege.
to your house and live
Thank
there.
Thank you for speaking to your place of privilege. It's very nice of you.
Yes, because I work 2 jobs to keep myself from
Good
not
for you.
having
Good
to
for
be
you.
on the
Taurus,
street.
let's start again. What are you
There
having
you
for
go.
lunch today? What are you having for lunch today?
What am I having for lunch? Nothing.
Nobody gives a shit.
Damn.
Can I just point out, Taurus in her profile has a fake picture of Jeffrey Epstein with Kamala Harris.
You saw that too? You saw that too? Yeah.
Of course she does. Of course she does.
You know, and the thing that makes me upset is they're like, well, all these houseless people, etc. What do you do? What do you do to help them? What do you actually do? Do you just walk by them while they're on the side of the road? Or do you actually go and get them food? Do you give them water? Do you give them help? Instead of just saying, well, look at how gross that, do you help them? You don't know what that person's going through. And the fact, and it's just like the same rhetoric within, Project 2025 and Agenda 47. There's only 2 reasons why someone is houseless, right? It's the fact that they have a mental issue or the fact that they're on some kind of rug. That's it. There's no other reasoning behind it. God fucking forbid.
So if you're friendly and if you're in the request box, if you wouldn't mind dropping out, please. We're going to go for a little while longer, then we're going to raid USMC Matt when the time comes. But we'll probably go till noon. So if you're friendly, if you wouldn't mind, please dropping out. Amber, you can stay. Well, she bounced, but that's okay. All right. So we'll bring up custom apparel. Wow. It's okay. Let's just address people. Custom apparel. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are y'all doing?
Fine, thank you. Who are you planning on voting for, sir?
Trump all the way.
All the way. So you're supporting a traitor? You're cool with that?
Yes, sir.
You're okay supporting a traitor?
I mean, you can label him however you want.
Well,
so yes.
Okay.
You wanted direct answers, right? Yes.
Okay. So you're comfortable voting for someone who wants to terminate the Constitution?
If that's what he wanted to do, yes.
Really? You're comfortable supporting someone who literally wants to terminate the Constitution?
You wanted direct answers, right?
So you don't see that as problematic?
I mean, I didn't see him do it his first 4 years. I don't think that's what he stands for at all, but I completely understand you and your panel and the fact that you try to manipulate everything he says, just like you only played part of the audio.
Oh,
play the full audio. Play the full audio.
No problem.
And ban urban camping wherever possible. Violators of these bans will be arrested, but they will be given the option to accept treatment and services if they're willing to be rehabilitated. Many of them don't want that.
Oh.
We'll give them the option. We will then open up large parcels of inexpensive land, bring in doctors, psychiatrists, social workers, and drug rehab specialists, and create 10 cities where the homeless can be relocated and their problems identified. But we'll open up our cities again, make them livable, and make them beautiful.
So give them options. So give them options. And if they don't accept the options, then what happens to them, Custom?
Then they'd be arrested, just like he said.
Right. Arrested for being houseless?
Right. Just like he said. Yes.
You're okay with arresting an American? Well,
100% okay with it.
Can I point out
No, it's
that's
not worth
not
it.
giving them any options.
It's not worth it. He's just not worth it.
But
Sorry,
it's not giving them any options also, because if you said we'll give them options, and your options are do what we ask you to do, or we'll make you do what we ask you to do.
Exactly.
That then makes it not an option anymore.
But Custom is a YT supremacist who doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself, obviously, and he's cool with terminating the Constitution. That's great. Again, he's the kind of person that probably votes, friends. Probably the kind of person who votes. Weird.
Someone, can I just correct something in the comments? Somebody just said, in my experience.
Why are you trying to join me on this?
Hang on, Jenny.
It said join live now. You are live.
Yeah, you requested.
No, I don't want to be on.
Bye then.
You don't buy that.
Good morning.
Okay.
Somebody in the comments said that in my experience, 90% of them are on the street because of drugs. That's false. The majority of people who end up on the street because of things like mental health problems, medical bankruptcy. There's being made unemployed. There's lots and lots of reasons. What happens though is once people are on the streets, then they are likely to develop a drug or alcohol addiction.
Correct.
So it's the other way round.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. So again, these people vote. Make sure that you do. No excuses. We've seen it. We know exactly who they are. Amber, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. Who are you planning on voting for?
I am voting for Kamala.
Okay, I'll give you a few seconds if you want to tell us why.
Yeah. Oh, well, I just want to address your homeless situation that you guys are addressing.
Sure.
I'm a combat veteran, and
thank you for your service.
Thank you. And basically, there's a lot of programs out there for homeless veterans. Unfortunately, as a female veteran, we do make up a large portion of the homeless due to the fact that we are sexually assaulted regularly as homeless vets when we're put into homeless camps or other setups, homeless shelters and things like that. We are at a high risk for SA, as well as the fact that there are a lot of homeless females who have children, and there not a lot of support for women with kids. And so unfortunately, in those situations, a lot of those homeless women will bail out on some of that and opt to protect themselves and their kids and not go and look for these sources. So when you're talking about arresting homeless, if they don't take these options that are presented to them, which I am highly sure are not going to be a safe space for women and for kids, you are basically stating that you're going to be arresting a lot of women, homeless women. And that's unfortunate because these things are not set up to protect them from sexual assault or violence. Look at Hurricane Katrina and the essays that occurred when they tried to shelter them.
Right.
It's just unfortunate that you want to arrest homeless people strictly because they're homeless, and women are going to be a high rate of violence in those situations.
And Amber, thank you for your service, first of all. And you're right. And I want to remind people, and you may have more data on this than I do, but I think at last check, the houseless population included about 15% veterans. I'm not sure if that's accurate. Somebody can fact check me on that, but it's a significant number of people who are vets.
I volunteer in Kansas City and things like that, where we try to get veterans, if you have a DD-214 or proof of service, you can come in, you can get dental work, you can get food, you can get clothes, you can get a lot of services, and they bust them in and things like that. And unfortunately, a lot of the women won't do it because they have kids and they're afraid that they're going to have those kids taken if they come and they find out that they have children on the streets. And because a lot of these situations where they're overnighted, these women are not protected in the same way because it's just the world just doesn't see women. And unfortunately, these women get overlooked and these protections are not in place and they don't search, even though they need the help. They don't do it because of this. And saying we're going to arrest these people because they're strictly homeless and they aren't accepting the positions that are given to them, it's sad.
So well said. So well said. Did you have something you wanted to add, Olive?
I was gonna say that you were right. It's 15%, and
Okay,
also Amber, with what you do and stuff, there's great resources as well I forget the actual program. I'll have to double check myself. But it does take your retired papers. I totally forget the number you just said. I'm on cold medicine. I don't know if you can hear it. But where you are able to be eligible for like loan programs and stuff like that. So that's something that people need to understand is that there are resources, but some people just don't want to take them because they don't know if they're going to be accepted for it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, again, Amber, thank you for the work that you're doing. I think it's just another example since we've been talking about veterans today, obviously, and then there's another population of houseless people who are 15% of the houseless population are vets, confirmed. So it's just another example when Trump says, and I'll play it again real quickly.
Ban urban camping wherever possible. Violators of these bans will be arrested.
Okay, so houseless people are a veteran population, part of the houseless community, banning urban camping and then arresting violators. So again, locking up American citizens for being houseless, including 15% that are vets. Another example of how this traitor does not give a shit about veterans. Anything you'd like to add, Amber?
Nope. Vote blue. Get out. Do
Thank
what
you
you
very
need to
much.
do.
Appreciate you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. And again, it's just that it's another example. So how do you defend it? Literally, there are previous un-American who doesn't give a shit about the Constitution said, play the whole clip. Played the whole clip. Speaks about options. Well, give them the option. The option is either, as Erica said it, is either do what we tell you to do or we will arrest you. Are those options?
No.
Olive could lose her house tomorrow. I could lose my house tomorrow. We'd be out in the streets and we slept on a park bench. We could be arrested. Last time I checked, I don't have a substance use issue. So the demonization of American citizens by MAGA and people who believe it is disgusting.
Can I also bring up one quick point?
Please.
The fact that when it comes to the houseless population, it's not necessarily they don't want help, right? It's the fact that people demonize them asking for help.
Exactly.
Don't do it without dignity. You know, they want help, but they want that respect.
That's exactly right.
So
it's also about the restrictions put on houseless people when they eventually are offered help. So an example of that would be that a lot of houseless people comfort themselves by having pets like dogs. And then when they're offered accommodation, they can't take their dog with them. And that is the one thing that has sustained them through the period of time of being houseless. And they're not willing to abandon their pet. And I get that.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. But again, it's the demonization, right? And you guys said it very, very well. It's somebody else that we can scapegoat because, of course, Trump has all the answers. Let's just lock up American citizens because they're houseless. That's just disgusting.
you also can't help people who don't want to be helped. Point period blank.
Another argument for universal health care. I support safe needle injection sites because I want to provide people the resources to get better. Good morning, James. How are you?
Hey, thanks. I'm just sitting here listening to you. I appreciate you putting me on, but I'm not. I'm a Democrat, so I'm just.
I know you are, brother.
Sitting here
you
listening.
Are. Anything you'd
Thank
like
you
to
so
say?
much, man.
It's my pleasure, bro. Anything you'd like to say about just a reminder to people why it's so important to vote for Kamala Harris?
Oh man, it's just a good thing, man. I mean, I watch politics, and I've been my life haven't been the same since Donald Trump came down the stairs, man. The escalator, man. I'm telling you, I've seemed like I've damn near watched television for the last 9 years. But I don't want to say what I want to say, but try to get along with everybody, man. But, it's just some senseless people. I sit here and listen to all these people that's on your live, man. And they come on here, they don't want to listen. If they listen to you, if people just listen, I think that they would have a better understanding and a change of hearts. But you caught me off guard, man. There's so much.
Okay, bro. I appreciate you very much, James. I appreciate you very much, my friend.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep doing what you guys doing. All of you guys, Erica, Olive, and OB, man. I'm telling you guys, man. Y'all are doing what you're supposed to do. Thank you so much.
Love you, bro. Be well. Take care of yourself.
All right.
Also, this is a friendly reminder that it's getting close to cold season. Make sure you take your vitamins and get your flu vaccination as well. Take care of yourself because
You
you don't
just
want to sound
remind
like me.
you've just reminded me, and my vitamin D sits next to me. Everybody needs a bit of vitamin D.
Everyone needs vitamin D.
Just saying.
Vitamin. Harry.
Yes. What's
Good
up,
morning. How are you?
I'm a Democrat, man. I was listening to you when you were talking about, did you guys register? Are you even registered to vote? You know that whoever you were telling that to? I got my paper right there. I'm a Democrat. And I'm a proud Democrat because I would never let Trump, if it was up to me, I would never let Trump back in the White House ever. Look what he's doing. Look behind you. This is awful. This is awful. They disrespect, like Erica. I've seen Erica a whole bunch of times. I've been on Olive too, and Facts Matter, I think. The other Facts Matter. But I love you guys. I'm
the original.
Yeah, I know. I love you too, bro. You're awesome.
Thank you.
You're well educated. All of you are. I applaud you guys. What you do, because not many people are doing what you guys are doing. You know, we got to get the truth out to these people because if we don't do it, who's gonna do it?
Well said, bro. Appreciate you, Harry. Thanks for being here.
You
friend.
know, God
Thanks a
bless
lot.
you guys, man.
You too, pal.
Go Harris, all the way.
All right, I think this has been emotional, and I think it's time. And I know Matt's live, and I want to make sure that we can rate him. So, friends, just as a reminder, the importance of voting in these conversations, and there's so many people that have shown their colors today, and we don't like to use the word about labeling people as such. And I know that if you start a conversation by telling someone they're in a cult, you're probably not going to get very far. But sadly, what we've seen today is obvious cult behavior because there's no matter what he does, they will find a way to defend it. So, as is the case, anybody left on the panel at the end of our show gets last words. Erica.
Just not so much today, but for sure yesterday. We talked to some of, I'm really sorry, but we talked to some of the stupidest people I've ever encountered in my entire life. And I don't like to say people are stupid, but they really were. And you know, I've only been in here for a short while today. The conversation has been excellent. But the amount of misinformation in the comment section and just people who don't want to listen to factual information is wild and astounding. So here's the deal, right? It is our responsibility as adult humans to fact check what we think is true. And I just implore you all to go and do that because don't work from a place of I'm just want to find things that confirm what I already think. Work from a place of I want to find out about this thing. Please just go and do it. You might find out that the world is not as you believe it is.
Well said. Greg, I just sent you an invite. Can you come back up for a second, brother? I appreciate it. Go ahead, Olive. Thank you, Erica.
Are you cool if I shout out what's going on Friday night?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I want to remind people, go register yourself to vote. Keep your idea on voter registration. Implore someone to go register to vote, especially people around my age that aren't registered to vote. Because I'm going to take my flowers, like Steve calls me, the Gen Z influencer. Go and encourage your young people to go out and vote. Friendly reminder, wear red on Fridays, especially behind that photo behind Steve. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. I know Fax has came in and rated me, and I love it every single time, and I can't appreciate it even more. Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, I do Get Stuffed with Olive. It's the same premise as this. You get to see me talk to a bunch of Trump supporters and freak them out when I tell them how old I am because they don't believe my age. So I'm gonna drop, but again, Steve, I appreciate you having me up, and you know I love you so much, and you are obviously the better Facts, 110%. So
got you, friend. I appreciate you very much, Olive. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Bye.
So I want to bring Greg up because this topic obviously is something that I know my brother and Vet is it's impactful. So I wanted to give you last word today, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention something on behalf of President Biden and Vice President Harris. I keep hearing, why weren't they there? I wanted to kind of point out that it wasn't a scheduled event. This was not something that they just decided, oh, I'm not going to attend. That's very disingenuous. That would be like myself being a Somali veteran saying on October 3rd, I'm going to go to Arlington and me and some veterans are going to do something and we're going to invite X politician, but Trump doesn't show up. And then the next day us criticizing because Trump didn't show up. You know, it's really, they did nothing wrong by not being there. They were not invited by anybody to be there. There was no special event. So I've just heard that a lot today was, well, why weren't they there? Because it wasn't an event. And that's all I really wanted to point out, because I think it's really disingenuous to criticize somebody for not being somewhere where nothing was scheduled to go on. And that's it. That's really, I just think it was really, really just kind of sad that that's where they would try to go, is because it just wouldn't be fair if we put that on the other foot. I would call it out also. It's just that it's not true.
I know you would, bro. Thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate you very much. You know that.
Yes,
Thank you for
sir.
your service. You got it.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Okay, so tonight, 9 p.m., Polititties, Noelle from Polititties was here earlier. The Polititties podcast, they go at 9. They're going to go live. They're going to cover the town hall interview that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are going to be doing this evening. That's at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow, we'll be back to our evening shift from 6 to 9 p.m. We have a couple of things in mind that I want to talk about, MAGA's truth. Like, I think we saw some examples of this today. So, what is your truth will probably be the topic, but please come back. Thank you all for joining us on an early schedule today. As a reminder, vote.org. Please check your voter registration, because the people that we spoke to today, who've shown that level of anger and have shown that level of just whatever you want to call it, are voters. So it's our job to vote back and to cancel out that noise. Please raid USMC vet Matt. He was on our panel earlier. Let him know we sent you. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you all very much.